who was in that group? Bill Kakovetsis, Steve Anish, rest in peace. What else? Yeah, Billy Kakovetsis and Mike Pastore, that whole group we used to hang out with all the time.
And my niece is my cousin is a teacher at your old school in Hershey.
Oh, what does she teach? What's her name?
I don't know what she teaches. Her first name is Larissa.
You guys aren't that very close if you don't know what she teaches.
Well, I mean, I know her husband's name is Ben. I know he's from England, but was naturalized as a citizen, and he's a conservative like we are.
Mm-hmm.
I do know that.
So he did it the legal way, the correct way.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes. He's not a migrant.
He's not illegal.
Yeah,
getting free phones and clothes and
healthcare
and
we don't
housing.
We don't want to take away these Medicare cuts are draconian. We're going to take away Medicare for illegals. We can't do that.
I know a lot of Democrats.
Medicaid,
that's the hill that they want to die on, and so they'll waste time, our taxpayer dollars, and their time and our time by sitting there reading the 940-page one big beautiful bill. 1 minute at a time to waste time because they don't want Trump to have another victory because Trump wants to sign the big beautiful bill by 4th of July, which is right around the corner. 312-642-5600. That's our turnkey.pro answer line. But they're selling it as if they're taking Medicaid away from people or kids with special needs.
I have an amazing set of things I culled from the Wall Street Journal in a recent editorial on the Medicaid cuts, if you'd like to hear that. But the other thing
I would love to, because my sister in Missouri, and I don't know if Missouri is different than Illinois. My niece is autistic, and she's been writing letters to her Congress people and Josh Hawley, her U.S. Senator.
Yes.
Saying, please don't do this, amend this portion of the bill to make sure that the right people get Medicaid.
Okay. Here's the thing: it's all a disgrace, and none other than the Republican light Wall Street Journal. And here we go. Recent report from the American Enterprise Institute is sobering. First of all, of the 7.8 million that are going to get cut, 4.8 million are insured because they're bums. They don't do the part-time work requirement. The bill asks work or volunteer 20 hours a week. Watch this. The most common, this is from the American Enterprise Institute.
I'm writing this down for my sister.
Yes, take notes.
Well, because my niece does work. No, she does work. She works more than 20 hours a week.
Well, then she qualifies once this goes through. Number two, watch this. A recent report from American Enterprise Institute, sobering. The most common activity after sleeping for these bums, 4.8 million that are going to lose Medicaid, is watching television and playing video games. Now, I don't know about you, Amy, but I want to pay for people's health care while they're playing video games. I don't see what the problem is here. So they spent 4.2 hours a day watching TV and playing video games, or 125 hours during a 30-day month doing that while we're paying for their health care. Number two. So that's 4.8 million.
Yeah,
number
take
two.
Your time. Really, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Number two.
All right.
Because I'm writing this down, Chris.
Oh, I'm going to send you a link. I'm going to tweet it out on my Twitter feed.
All right.
Absolutely.
What is your Twitter feed, by the way?
At Chris Kroc Show, ChrisKrok, at Chris Kroc Show, ChrisKrok. 1.4 million of the uninsured, this is now in addition to the 4.8 million, 1.4 million do not meet citizenship and immigration status requirements. So that's free Medicaid for illegals, for the migrants. So now we're at, what is that? Do math, we're radio. This is brain surgery, so it takes a little bit for me. So that's 5.8. It's 6.2.
6.2, yes.
Gracias, amiga. Now, one more. The 7.8 million figure includes 1.6 million who have access to other forms of subsidized coverage like Obamacare. So, in other words, 1.6 million will get Obamacare or other options. 1.4 million are illegals, and 4.8 million are bums who don't want to work or volunteer 20 hours a week or more. The CBO also says this. Watch this. CBO says, even under the GOP bill, the health program spending will grow, not be cut, over $200 billion over 10 years, by more than over $200 billion in 10 years.
Okay.
So,
well, Josh Hawley, Senator Hawley, and CNN has been playing it repeatedly.
Yes.
A soundbite of him saying, we've got to change the Medicaid, to make sure that the right people don't get, the wrong people don't get affected by this.
I don't know if somebody has a picture of him with a goat or something. I don't know where this is coming from.
Well, right now we still Rand Paul and Tom Tillis, who is not going to run for re-election as senator of North Carolina. They're both no's, so they cannot have one. If they have one more no, then it's
I
back to the drawing board.
I have another thing. I hate to keep quoting the Journal here, but this is an insanely good one too. And I read this morning because it just came out in the past 24 hours. And actually, because I was like, this whole thing is a con. They're wasting our money. They're blowing more money. And I'm not, still there's a lot of crap in there. It's horrible. But check this out. The Journal says $3.3 trillion over 10 years is the claim that's what it's going to cost. But it's only true. It gets a little complicated, but I highlighted the simple parts for us. It's only true that it'll cost $3.3 trillion over 10 years if you assume Congress was going to tolerate a $4.5 trillion tax increase, which would only be the result if the 2017 Trump tax cuts expired at the end of this year.
Right.
So jumping
the 2017 tax cuts, we cannot. That means the average family of four from Wisconsin would pay $2,500 more a year in taxes. So we have to make sure that this gets through, but we want them to do it correctly.
Yes. And it goes on and it says, in any rational world, changes in the law would be scored against current policy. But in Washington, it's scored against the CBO's current law baseline, which assumes the tax cuts will expire, which we know they're not going to happen. Voila. That's $3.3 trillion in deficits over 10 years, they say. Based on current policy, however, the CBO estimates the Senate bill, will save $500 billion over 10 years. Spending reductions would offset the increased costs from tax carve-outs for overtime tips, auto loan interest, as well as increase in the state and local SALT, the SALT deduction.
Right.
A couple more lines if you want. It's up to you.
Yeah, and also,
well,
let's just make sure no taxes on tips up to $25,000 and no taxes on overtime.
You know what I also forgot, or that I didn't think about? Trump's brilliant. I saw a new thing he did with people with hard hats and nurses, cops in the Oval Office, which is how brilliant marketing. But I thought about that. I didn't realize as cops, they work a ton of overtime, an insane amount of overtime. Whether you're in the suburbs or whether you're in Chicago or the suburbs, doesn't matter. They work a ton. Okay, and it's like that's one of the reasons why so many people leave Chicago, CPD, not because they don't want to go to jail for doing the job, but number two, they're never off because the city's always forcing you to work. Yeah. So this will help them.
And they cancel your days off too if they know
all the
something
time
big is coming.
All the time. You know that, and I know that, and. So continuing on in this journal analysis, they also say this, spending reductions will offset, I already mentioned that part, here we go. Under CBO's current baseline law, the SALT deduction cap disappears at the end of this year, so the new $40,000 cap has the effect of reducing the deficit by $944 billion over 10 years. So in other words, it's all about what is actually going to take place from this budget with these cuts or these things going through. And the CBO doesn't project that. They assume the tax cuts drop, and that messes with things. They assume the SALT disappears. Now, yes.
No. That's okay. Good. 312-642-5600. Let's squeeze in a phone call real quick. Craig in Mount Greenwood. Hello, friend. How are you?
I'm doing well, Amy. Always good to hear you, and you have different people each day. And Chris, I've heard him before with you, and he's a good guy. Hey, thank you for covering this topic. So this dog and pony show that they're doing, and the big part of it is the reading. Oh, yeah, the big reading. So the Republicans, if they were smart, they should basically from this point on, when the Democrats are in there, it's like Pelosi, you got to pass it to know what's in it. No. From this point on, read that whole thing and publicize it, put it out there, let everybody hear it, even to televise it even and whatever, but make them read it every time. I was wondering what you guys think of that idea of having them to make that permanent, read it, and that so everyone knows what's going on.
Well, I mean, they've been doing it for the past, they started last Friday, I believe.
Are they still reading it?
So, no, I think they're all done now, but they were, through the night and took their merry time to do this.
Did you hear the Parliament or the lady reading it?
Make the Democrats do it too. Make the Democrats do it every time they're in there. Make them read it.
And
they never read bills.
I want one of those sign language people, and then in the middle of the sign language, I want them to do, the sign language for BS.
Interpreter, yeah.
Where they get the horns on one side and it's shooting out of the other side. I want to see that in the middle there because the whole time, yeah. So I don't know, but there we are.
All right, thanks, Craig, for the phone call. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
Thank
you too, sir.
Yep. And it's Amy Jacobson and Chris Crock on AM 560, The Answer.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Sponsored by AxeCap Ventures. America, listen up. Gold prices are breaking records. With inflation raging and central banks hoarding, every American should own gold. And like President Trump said, whoever holds the gold makes the rules. AxeCap Ventures owns one of Nevada's largest undeveloped gold deposits and trades for pennies on the dollar. This could be your way to ride the gold boom. AxeCap trades under GARLF on the OTC. Visit axecapventures.ca today.
It's news, opinion, and insight at the speed of your life. Streaming at 560theanswer.com on the AM 560 mobile app, or tell your smart speaker to play The Answer Chicago.
Good morning, 71 degrees in Chicago and AM 560 The Answer. I'm John Cruz in for Nikki Whaley in the Mattress Firm newsroom. Brian Koberger, the man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students back in 2022, has agreed to take a plea deal right before his high-profile trial set to begin. Koberger expected to walk into court today and formally admit to all his crimes, including murder. His guilty plea will spare him the death penalty in exchange for 4 life sentences if the judge agrees. Chicago police investigating an anti-Semitic graffiti incident in Hyde Park over the last 10 days. In each incident, stickers or graffiti with anti-Semitic phrases were found in various spots, including a mailbox, stop sign, lockers, and an emergency bell, according to the CPD. Anyone with information asked to contact police. And several new laws take effect today, including new rules for single-use plastics and taxes on sports betting. Chicago's minimum wage increases start today. This year, the general Chicago wage will go up to $16.60 per hour for employers with 4 or more employees, while the tipped minimum wage will rise to $12.62 per hour. This report sponsored by Mattress Firm. Shop Mattress Firm's July 4th sale and reclaim your restless nights. Choose from a curated premium selection of mattresses to find just the upgrade that you're looking for. Get matched, sleep at night. We're checking weather coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Larry Elder knows why we haven't heard much from the left.
Polling that shows most Americans support what President Trump is doing, which is to prevent Iran from getting a nuke. Now, the reason Democrats haven't said anything is because they do not want to give any support to President Trump. It doesn't matter what he does, what he says, they're just not going to do it.
The Larry Elder Show. Weeknights at 8, right before Sean Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
This is Albert Mohler for townhall.com. In politics, there are earthquakes, and then there are earthquakes. What took place last week in New York City is a very big earthquake. The Democrats are now nominating Zohran Mamdani, a man identified with democratic socialism, a Muslim born in Uganda, now to be the Democratic Party's nominee to be mayor of the nation's largest city. The biggest issue here is democratic socialism. New York politics is always interesting. It's often unpredictable. It certainly was last week. New York politics sometimes serves as a bellwether for politics, but not so much in the national sense. But national Democrats are paying big attention to this story. But it may well be that the Democratic Party is now under such radical control from the far left that winning national elections is actually no longer its primary consideration. There are many who are asking the question, where in the world is the Democratic Party going to go? If the primary election in New York is any indication, let's just say it is going to be interesting.
Sponsored by AxeCap Ventures. America, listen up. Gold prices are breaking records. With inflation raging and central banks hoarding, every American should own gold. And like President Trump said, whoever holds the gold makes the rules. AxeCap Ventures owns one of Nevada's largest undeveloped gold deposits and trades for pennies on the dollar. This could be your way to ride the gold boom. AxeCap trades under GARLF on the OTC. Visit axecapventures.ca today.
Planning a wedding is a monumental task. After months and months of preparation, on your wedding day, you have a lot to think about. The flowers, the catering, the bridal party, the DJ, the seating chart. It can be overwhelming, and no one wants all of that stress to take away from the joy of the moment. That's why you need a wedding photographer you can trust to capture those important moments so that no matter what happens on your wedding day, you'll have those memories to enjoy for years to come. For over 30 years, brides and their families have trusted Tom Codil Photography with their wedding days. This locally owned family business will make sure you have lasting memories to share for years to come. Tom Codil Photography Photography is the official photographer for AM 560 The Answer. To learn more and to see their portfolio, just visit TomKilloranphotography.com. That's KILLORAM photography.com. Or call them at 708-361-0025. Tom Killoran Photography, capturing important life moments for over 30 years.
Rashaw talks about building income in retirement.
You know, you can actually structure it in a way to have that $4,000 a month coming in the door every single month. So you don't have to look at the stock ticker and say, oh, the stock market's up today, stock market's down. You still got that $4,000 a month, and having that opportunity to take the vacations and do all the fun things in retirement that you always dreamed to do.
Unleash your wealth, Saturday at 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
Viking, dedicated to creating travel experiences for the thinking person, with programs designed for cultural enrichment on board and on shore. Discover more at Viking.com.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Today will be mostly sunny and less humid with a high of 86. Tonight, expect clear skies with a low of 69. Tomorrow will be warm with more sun than clouds, reaching a high of 89. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is sponsored by Protecting Your Assets with Steve Shyman. Listen Saturday mornings at 8. Learn more at willsave.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Good Tuesday morning. Today, President Trump's going to be visiting Alligator Alcatraz in Florida. It's just another win for the big guy. I got to tell you that. I'm so happy for him. He's had a great last 12 days, that's for sure. He brokered the 12-day war ceasefire. He got the NATO defense spending agreement. Rwanda-Congo peace deal. SCOTUS ends the nationwide injunctions to greenlight third country deportations, and stock market hit an all-time high. Well, it was closed very well on Friday, so good for him. Have you seen video or of images of Alligator Alcatraz, Chris?
Yes, I want to see more video. I want drone footage kind of coming in through the swamp.
He's coming there today. He's visiting. Trump's going to visit Alligator Alcatraz today. And it's so strange, the dichotomy, because the tents that they're setting up, it looks like how we welcomed them here when they came here illegally. And it's the same way we're saying bye-bye to millions of people.
I love it.
Criminals that they took first. So kudos to them. Okay, so during COVID, were you in Texas during COVID? Were you in a free state, or were you?
Yes. And can I tell you that
held against your will, like we were here in Illinois?
Only for like a couple months at most. But can I tell you this? What was the most incredible experience for me is coming home for Christmas. We usually drive. We go up through Oklahoma for a little bit, then through the whole state of Missouri coming up, and I'm always carrying my firearm. Concealed carry. We have reciprocity in many, many states, right? If you have a license, that's why I keep it, even though you don't even need one in Texas anymore. But when I get to Missouri, what was profound was that going home for Christmas that year. I don't think we went home for Thanksgiving. We went home for Christmas. And we could see our rights being peeled away. I'm not kidding you, as we got closer and closer to Illinois and Chicago. And I remember this poor young kid distributing our drinks, the fountain there, soda fountain, whatever, at McDonald's. This poor freaking kid had to stand there with a shield coming down from the ceiling hanging in front of him, and he filled our drinks and put it on a stupid shield. So that was in Missouri, but it was not as bad. And then you go to Chicago, we go to Illinois, it was insane. My daughter and son came home, it was my home. They grew up here in DFW and in Georgia, but with radio stuff. But they literally, how you had to have an unthinkable, like a passport, your COVID ID card or whatever, which is
right. We had those.
I can't believe that. I know, that's what I'm saying. So we didn't have any of that crap. So my daughter literally had a way of printing it and messing with it and so she freaking forged her and my son's COVID cards, because they never got that shot. And they were able to go about with my parents and go to these places. I was very proud of them.
Yeah, I mean, I really think that was the final nail in the coffin for Dan to leave Illinois. because he was not going to get vaccinated. And you couldn't do anything. You couldn't go to the restaurant. You couldn't go to a movie. You couldn't go to a mall. You couldn't hang out with your friends and go to Chipotle and things. I mean, just the simplest things in life that you take for granted, you now realize this is not any way that I want to live.
I just
couldn't go to
believe-
restaurants. I mean, my son, if he didn't have his COVID card with him, and I'll never forget, he went to a movie and he didn't have his COVID card. And I said, put the manager on the phone right now.
Good.
And I said, I'll send you an electronic image of it. But you're letting him hang out with his friends because we played by the rules. We did everything you asked us to do. So don't discriminate against him.
I just can't believe that so many people had to get that shot if they wanted to live a normal life. It's reprehensible. And I know we're not going to talk about it now, but I didn't know anything about the ice cream man with COVID and that sick son of a bee who I have so much to say about from CBS 2, Channel 2, who hunted down the ice cream man and was harassing him. Can I just tell you, the guy, he's one of those classic low-T, miserable liberal men who's married to a woman who runs that frickin' family, and he obeys her.
Well,
He obeys her. Miserable SOB.
And the reason why we brought it up is because I remember at the time seeing this on the news and thinking, what are they doing to this poor man who's just trying to make a living? He's just selling food. And last I checked, you could still sell food during COVID. And it was a CBS 2 assignment editor, father, cyclist. His name is Greg Kelly.
I'm glad you mentioned him.
He mentioned
he's a little man.
Yeah, well, he with a mask on outside riding a bike. That doesn't look ridiculous, does it?
Soy boy.
I know. But so the reason why we brought it up is because Justin and I at the time, I remember pointing it out to him. Like, did you see the story on Channel 2 last night? Look at this story. And Justin, our technical producer, he found the ice cream man.
That's
and
incredible.
His wife Bethany were out and about. But Justin, do we have the ice cream man story here?
God bless that man.
I don't see it on the wall. Can you just play it from there?
Keeping kids cooped up is no easy task. Add to that an enticement, unsafely, and in this case, illegally doled out. Tonight, watch what happens when one dad, a CBS 2 journalist, gets the scoop on an ice cream man not playing by the rules. That iconic music screams summer, and we all scream for ice cream. But during a pandemic, social distance the rule, getting close to the ice cream man could mean getting something else. Fact of life. Yet here's Mr. Freeze, not his name, in his truck of treats, unmasked, ungloved, taking cash for cones in the Northwest Burbs. That's when CBS 2 assignment editor Greg Kelly, father of two, dad on a bike, said, wait a minute.
You think it's a good idea to be doing this with the stay-at-home order? With COVID-19?
Eventually, our Greg got a bit closer, tried to get an answer from Mr. Freeze. Again, not his name.
Why aren't you wearing a mask, sir?
Why are you trying to take
Why are you selling
ice cream
to children without wearing a mask?
Why are you trying to... Are you sick?
Am I sick? No, and I want to say that
I'm not sick either. So why are they quarantining healthy people?
What's your name, sir?
This is not a law.
At this time, face coverings are required in public situations where social distance cannot be maintained.
I have a permit. I get permits.
Right.
You
got the permit before the stay-at-home order went into
I can't
place.
understand what you're saying. Back up and remove the mask.
I'm not removing the mask.
I'm not removing
He
the
drove
mask.
off after the questioning by our assignment desk editor, dad, biker, and journalist Greg Kelly. But this all happened in Hoffman Estates, and tonight we'd learn ice cream trucks there are banned. Have been for years. The village manager tells us if you see that ice cream man, call 911.
Call 911 if you see the ice cream man. I mean, the fact is, like, take off. I can't understand what you're saying. Take off the mask and talk to me.
He needed the mask. This is a miserable man. What kind of a miserable man sees the ice cream man coming through? What kind of a miserable person wearing a freaking mask
People
on
were
a bicycle?
out of their minds. You don't understand. I did things. I would wear gloves.
Oh my gosh! No! They got me with that too.
They ripped on him for saying he wasn't masked and he wasn't wearing gloves driving his ice cream truck.
I mean, but here's the thing. how I would be afraid to show my face after that. Like now, if you look back, I mean, I would have a public thing so that I would just refer people to and say, I was wrong, I'm embarrassed, I apologize, I'm sorry what I did, if I was any of those two clowns. And they sit there and they act like they're reporting news.
Well, they act like they're so high and mighty. Like, look what I did. I busted somebody selling ice cream during COVID. 312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line. And the reason why we're bringing this up again is because Justin and his wife Bethany ran into the ice cream man and even bought ice cream for him. I'm so glad that he wasn't tackled by that CBS father cyclist,
Don't
Greg
taste
Kelly.
me, bro.
I know. So where did you see this? What town? Were you in Elgin or Hoffman Estates, or where were you?
So we're out in Elgin, and we hear the ice cream man, and naturally we run because it's a childhood delicacy. So now that we're adults, we can take advantage of it every time the ice cream man comes around. Sure enough, he rolls up. It's a really nice guy. Just start making conversation. I tell him, hey, thank you for what you do. You bring back a little bit of my childhood. So I love, every time I see an ice cream man come around, I go make it a point to go out and get ice cream.
Yeah, good for you. And now you have money to pay for your own ice cream, Justin.
Absolutely.
You're all grown up at it.
Do you check their permits on that? I mean, I wouldn't buy anything. He's got to have that. And I know COVID still can kill you. You at least want to see if you can see his card.
Did you call 911 like CBS 2 asked you to do?
No, but it's funny enough. We start talking a conversation, and he's a huge advocate for the ice cream trucks. Because apparently this is a big deal in a lot of cities with ordinances banning ice cream trucks. You wouldn't believe it. I mean, Elgin, Hoffman Estates, so many towns have these ridiculous ordinances just completely banning them. And so he's made it a point to go out and be an advocate for ice cream trucks.
He's like a rogue ice cream man.
He's just a guy bored in retirement. He told me that he went into this whole story. He started golfing after retirement, and he goes, you can only play so many rounds of golf before you just get bored.
Oh, my God. Tell Dan Prof that. All right, well, when did you realize, that's the dude from Channel 2?
So when we started talking about his advocacy for ice cream trucks, and he points to his sign in his truck, and it's a big Pritzker Sucks sign.
Yes!
He was so proud of the Pritzker Sucks sign.
Yes!
Starts telling me these stories about how, there's the disgusted parents who come up, I can't believe you have that in your window. You can't have that.
Yes, he can. And freedom of speech.
And, other parents, I guess there's some police officers who will send their kids out with money just to give to him to say, thanks for what you do. Love the sign, but I can't come out and show my face because he's the big boss.
I was going to say, would never normally do this, but I swear, man, even if whether I ate the ice cream or not, I would give that man whatever's in my freaking pocket.
Well, did you tell him that you recognized him from TV?
So it's funny enough, when talking about the ordinances, he goes, during COVID, this crazy, I was in Hoffman Estates, they had an ordinance banning it, and this crazy man on a bike starts following me, starts waving me down, so I finally pull over, and I say, what do you want?
Sir!
And cue in the CBS report from there, and I go, oh my, you are a hero to me.
He's Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze. I pull up the video and I go, is this you? And he goes, how did you get a picture of me?
Because I sent you that, remember? It was so strange how things work, because I sent you that, because I just ran into it and said, remember how crazy people were? Look at this. And then a few days later, or a week later, you ran into Mr. Freeze. That's great. I'm so glad he did not get arrested.
Did not get arrested. Still rocking it. Totally nice guy. Very religious. Love that.
Oh, my God. Did you tell him to listen to AM 560?
I did.
Did
Absolutely.
you tell him that you worked there? And
He said that when the report aired on CBS, he got a ton of calls from all of his friends telling him he belongs in jail. As a joke, not as serious. His friends were all on his side.
His friends call in. They call the police. I know where he lives. I know his address.
That is
He doesn't wear a mask.
But he couldn't believe it when he saw himself on the news.
I know. I mean, they played that story over and over again. Like, we got him. Like, we're social justice warriors. We're here. We're Channel 2. We're here to protect your kids and yourself from COVID.
I just can't believe that. How humiliating to if that was me, I'd be so humiliated and embarrassed.
Oh, do you think Greg Kelly's going to show his kids that video someday?
Yeah, look at what I did here. Look, I hunted down the ice cream man, and I demanded him, and he told me to take my mask. He couldn't understand. I kept my mask on.
And on the video of him outside on his bike with his helmet, of course, because, you know,
if
he
had
it
a
saves
helmet
one
on?
life. Well, yeah, if it saves one life. But I shouldn't. I wear a helmet too when I cycle, but the mask and the helmet outside, it's just classic. So is he going to continue to drive the ice cream truck until he dies?
Oh, absolutely. He loves it. He loves talking to the people. He is very proud of his Pritzker sucks sign.
Oh, that's great.
Very, very.
Amy,
Is it on the outside of the truck or on the inside?
It's on the inside facing outward, so everybody sees it as you're getting ice cream. I didn't notice it. Sure enough, he pointed to it, and I'm like, wow. I'm like, dude, you are a legend.
What does it say again? Pritzker sucks?
Pritzker sucks, and then under it says the life out of Illinois businesses.
Yes.
The big point is Pritzker sucks, so all the, the whatever Dan says, the Roffles...
Yeah,
they come out, they're all angry, pointing at it, and he goes, no, it's about business.
Yeah.
That's
great.
great.
Good for him.
I just think the most chilling line from that report is, call the police if you see the ice cream man.
I cannot believe that's serious.
Because he doesn't just hang out in Hoffman Estates, he goes to all the northwestern suburbs.
Absolutely,
You know?
Yep.
I may
At
have
least
seen
the
him
ones
back
that
in the
don't
day.
ban him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do you think cops really have time to go chase down the ice cream truck man?
Well, Channel 2 does. CBS 2 does.
Yeah, there was a call to action.
Is there a problem? Call to action, right?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. So I did a citizens. I can't talk. I did a citizen's arrest. I saw him. I cut him off, and so I couldn't go anywhere. I got him in a little wedge here, and I'm officer, come now. Call 911. You block him in maybe at the intersection, and then you call 911. You make a citizen's arrest.
That would have been classic. All
Get
right,
the ice cream man.
312-642-5600. Let's go to Glenn in Orlando. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer. Hi, Glenn.
Good morning, all. If I remember correctly, didn't Pritzker ship his family down to Florida during the COVID lockdown in Illinois?
Well, he did. Yeah, no, that's a good point because he did. He sent his 2 children and his wife to Florida the day before he shut down the state of Illinois.
And that had nothing to do with timing.
They were able to do all of their sports. They were able to go to the gym. The kids were able to do whatever they wanted while our kids suffered. Yeah.
And it was a coincidence. Right. He did not time that out.
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah. No, he knew
he didn't know he was going.
He had to get the primary elections in March 17th, I believe, or the 16th they were that year. And we are all shoulder to shoulder, breathing on each other, stuck in the hallway at Wells Park there to vote. He had to get that done first, and then he shut down the state. Then he got his family out, then he shut down the state.
There you go. Let you guys suffer, and everybody else.
Nice hypocrite.
Yeah. Oh, and the best was he was going to go see them for Thanksgiving that year, and Marianne Ahern and I, we kept following up, and Marianne said, well, where are you spending Thanksgiving? And he said, well, and then he stopped. And then he said, I haven't decided yet. And then the next day he came out and said, oh, no, I'm staying home and everybody needs to stay home. Don't kill your relatives. Stay home for Thanksgiving. Or they wanted us to do a viral or a Zoom Thanksgiving.
What an embarrassment.
Crazy. Joe in Hoffman Estates. How are you?
Hey,
are you on the lookout for the ice cream man?
Joe, is he there?
Yep, I'm on the lookout. I called the FBI last week.
Good.
Yeah.
Do you have an address? Do you have a location, sir?
I got a funny story. I seen a cop pull up on the ice cream man at a splash pad that's not too far from my house. And I thought he was going to shoo him away, and he's talking to him for about 10 minutes, and then I see the cop walking away with a popsicle. So I don't think they enforce the law.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
If you see somebody at a creepy serial killer event selling, that you might want to stop and talk to him. Other than that, he likes ice cream like everybody else, right?
Yeah. Neil in LaGrange, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
I didn't change a thing back then. I didn't get the jab. I got more grief from everybody in my family, and everything I said back then came to fruition. it's all came out, it was all true. And I said to everybody in my family, I said, the last person that I'm going to take health care advice from is a cognitively impaired guy that lives at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. I said, there's no way. But like I said, I didn't change a thing. I didn't wear a mask. I was the pariah. And my one sister-in-law, I love her dearly, but she's a nut. She stands out even to this day with these signs, one of those, and it's like she goes on and on. I remember we were on vacation, family reunion. She goes, she's going on and on about how I am infecting so many people. And I told her, I said, look,
super spreader.
I said, yeah, that's right, super spreader. I said, that jab, I said, at the end of the day, it's going to come out that it doesn't prevent you from spreading it, and it doesn't prevent you from getting it. And that, they shut everything down.
I know, but the lie that they told everybody is the reason why masks didn't work was because not everybody was wearing them.
Uh-huh.
I had a kid tell me that, and then a doctor told me that, too.
Changed. It changed,
There was the 6-foot rule. Can I ask you a real quick question, sir?
Go ahead.
Have you gotten your booster shot?
Oh, okay.
I haven't gotten anything. And
we're on shot number 9 right now.
Yes, I'm on 10.
What's really funny is that, I've got the rarest blood there is, AB negative, okay? But like I said, I didn't get anything. And now a lot of the blood centers, they're looking for unvaccinated blood, which is funny. Isn't that something?
Yeah. Thanks, Neil. I want to get Chuck in here real quick. Chuck and Delavan, our good friend Chuck. Hi.
Oh, hey, how you doing? They were floating all over. Pritzker was floating all over the place with his family. They took and they came up. His wife, her favorite restaurant is Mars over on Lake Como, and they came up there and they rented the whole restaurant. Nobody else could go in. They all came in unmasked. This is in the first year of it.
Could the peasants bring them food?
I mean, let them talk. Okay, what happened?
Okay.
What happened?
Anyway, they had the birthday party for her. Everybody that came, whoever they were, the muckety mucks, they did not wear masks, and all the servers that were there had to wear masks. So if there's a server that works at Mars, call in and tell the story so you get it firsthand. Thank you very much.
Oh my God, the visual of that too. It sounded like Governor Newsom at the French Laundry.
Yes,
that's
exactly what I was going to say. Yeah.
Here's Pritzker when asked about Thanksgiving.
Will you be in Illinois for Thanksgiving?
That is my hope, but I will let you know.
My hope.
And then the next day, after consulting with Jordan Abadayu, his PR person, came out and said that no, I'm staying here in Illinois. It's all just a big racket. George in Naperville. Hi, George.
Yes, Amy, I remember during that, good morning, Amy and Chris. I remember that Stop the Spread period where a young black kid was shooting basketball out all by himself in a park, and Lori Lightfoot pulled up in a limousine. And she's like, what are you doing out here? You're not supposed to be out here. He's like, what are you doing out here?
That's my favorite moment from COVID. He was a kid. Yeah. She was on the south side of Chicago west side.
Yeah, he was my hero.
He was out there. He was playing basketball with some friends outdoors. And she said, what are you doing? You're going to bring that home to your mama. And she said, why don't you get out of here? And he looked at her and goes, why don't you get out of here?
Amen. Wow.
If we can find that, we'll bring it to you. Thanks, Amy Jacobson and Chris. In for Dan Proft on AM 560, Chicago's Morning Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560, The Answer. Sign up for the AM 560 Answer Advantage to get early alerts on event ticket sales, special discounts, and contest opportunities. Sign up today at 560theanswer.com/advantage.
This is a special alert during this window replacement season. Don't get tricked by the cheapest offers and gimmicky ads. Now's the time to see and feel the difference of high-performance windows from Valdecas.
When it's time to consider new windows, siding, and doors for your home, you need to look no further. Sebastian Gorka here to tell you about Valdecas. ValdeCast has been the trusted name chosen by thousands of homeowners, and they should be your number one choice too. But what's really behind the name ValdeCast? Over 25 years of a team dedicated to providing you with the best customer service experience and products that truly bring value to your home. They are a Pella Platinum Elite Status certified contractor for a reason. They have an A+ rating with the BBB, as well as high ratings and positive reviews on both Google and Houzz. Schedule your free in-house consultation at valdecast.com.
Ask about their exclusive manufacturer warranties and their 10-year workmanship guarantee.
Don't wait. Book today at valdecast.com. For the best in class, it's ValdeCast.
At almostfreeteeth.com, they're dedicated to making smiles great again. If you have medical PPO insurance, find out how you could save 90% off on average to get a beautiful dental implant supported smile. Check if you qualify right now at almostfreeteeth.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, moderate Democrats are starting to sweat as Zohran Mamdani locks in the nomination and doubles down on pretty much everything. But he's more of a communist than you could ever imagine. We'll start there at 6:06. And then later, how do we disrupt the trade of human trafficking? It is now 6 a.m., WIND, Chicago.
All day and all of the night. I'm Chris Foster. Fox News debate and votes on amendments to the Republicans' so-called One Big Beautiful Tax and Spending Bill continue as a vote-a-rama that started yesterday morning rolls on. One amendment removes a block on state and local governments from enforcing their own artificial intelligence regulations for 10 years.
They voted twice against a plan to bar illegal immigrants from receiving Medicaid. That was a provision that was stricken from the bill by the Senate parliamentarian, the referee in these matters here. And also, the Senate has voted 99-1 to take out a provision imposing an AI moratorium by the states and local governments for the next decade. That was taken out. That's something that was not in the original House bill, and that's something that will satisfy the House of Representatives.
Fox's Chad Pergam at the Capitol. President Trump suggests taking a look at federal subsidies to Elon Musk's companies after Musk calls the One Big Beautiful Bill utterly insane. Brian Koberger agrees to plead guilty to the 2022 murders of 4 University of Idaho students at their off-campus home in a deal to spare him the death penalty. The family of at least one victim, Kaylee Goncalves, wants him dead.
In a letter to the victims' families, the prosecutor explained, quote, "We cannot fathom the toll that this case has taken on your family. This resolution is our sincere attempt to seek justice for your family." But the family of Kaylee Goncalves is angry, posting on their family Facebook page that they told prosecutors they did not want this plea deal. In a statement saying, quote, "Brian Koberger facing a life in prison means he would still get to speak, form relationships, and engage with the world. Meanwhile, our loved ones have been silenced forever." I also spoke to Kaylee's father last night, who told me, quote, "This isn't what we fought for."
Fox's Chanley Painter. 2 firefighters shot and killed in an ambush attack near Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, are identified as 43-year-old Frank Harwood and 52-year-old John Morrison. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning, 71 degrees in Chicago and AM 560 The Answer. I'm John Cruz in the AlmostFreeTeeth.com newsroom. Clouds will stick around till lunchtime, then sunny and 78 today. Chicago firefighters battling a house fire overnight into Tuesday on the city's northwest side. That fire broke out just after 11 o'clock in the 5400 block of West Windsor Avenue. The fire burning the home next door as well. Some neighbors reported hearing what they described as a small explosion before the fire. No major injuries reported. 4 people killed. A 5-year-old boy remains in critical condition, and several others homeless following Thursday's fire on the city's west side as police continue looking for a motive and an arsonist. And now a $5,000 reward is being offered for information. The victim's loved ones held a vigil last night. The fire broke out in a 24-unit, 3-story building, trapping many inside. Now, some neighbors also report hearing gunshots before seeing the fire. No arrests have been made. Several new laws taking effect today. Chicago's new minimum wage increases. This year, the general Chicago minimum wage will go up to $16.60 for employers with 4 or more employees, while the tipped minimum wage will rise to $12.62 per hour. And you're paying more to gas up. Tax rates increase on gas. Online sports betting will charge 25 or 50 cents on every bet made in the state. The Douglas Park suspect accused of shooting 2 teenage boys due in court today, but he also allegedly shot 2 dogs in 2023, according to police. 55-year-old Charles Leto A Marine veteran feared for his life when he shot those dogs, killing one of them. In Thursday's incident, new video shows the teens walking past Leto, who is a lifeguard with Chicago Park District. 15-year-old Marjay Dotson was killed. 14-year-old Jeremy Harrod is still in the hospital. Chicago Park District has put Leto on an unpaid emergency suspension. News is a service of almostfreeteeth.com. Have you been getting high quotes for dental implants? With medical PPO insurance, it's possible to save 90% off on average. See if you qualify today at almostfreeteeth.com. Making smiles great again. A check of your roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Make sure that you never miss a day of Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson when you subscribe to the Chicago's Morning Answer podcast, presented by Signature Bank. Listen to the entire show each day on demand with limited commercial breaks. You can subscribe today for free at 560theanswer.com and click on podcasts or search for Chicago's Morning Answer on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Michaela's Mobile Spa, Michaela! Michaela got a quick business insurance quote from Progressive and chose from over 30 customizable coverages. Sure, it helps she's her only employee and does literally everything. But while others would rest on their laurels, Michaela was hard at work saving big. So take that, hypothetical other employee who doesn't exist. Be your own Michaela. See if you could save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage is not available in all states or for all vehicles and coverage selections.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
That shot was money, Lisa. Hey, speaking of, did you ever figure out what to do with your parents' old coin collection?
Not yet. I need a reputable dealer to appraise them. I have no clue what they're worth.
I just finished working on my dad's estate collections. I took it all to Fox Valley Coins. Their customer service was the best. Plus, they're super honest and reputable, but most importantly, experienced. They'll give you the best prices.
Really? They handle estate collections?
Absolutely. Buying, selling, appraising, they do it all. It was quick and simple, and we maintained our privacy. Fox Valley Coins made the whole process easy.
That's exactly what I need. Are they local?
Right in Naperville. They have an easy website to remember. FoxValleyCoins.com.
Perfect. Now let's see if you can return this shot.
Whether buying or selling or just want valuation, Fox Valley Coins is your trusted gold and silver dealer. Visit Fox Valley Coins, 1 light north of I-88 on Route 59 at the Naperville-Warrenville border. FoxValleyCoins.com. Family-owned integrity since 1981.
Taking a look at your drive in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center with traffic, a service of Fox Valley Coins. A 14-minute ride on the Edens inbound Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound Montrose to Lake Cook, 13 minutes. On the Kennedy inbound O'Hare to Byrne Interchange, 19 minutes. Outbound Byrne Interchange to O'Hare, 22 minutes. Travel time on the Eisenhower inbound Jane Addams to Old Post Office, a 28-minute ride. Eisenhower outbound Old Post Office to Jane Addams. And on the Stevenson inbound, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, 16 minutes between First Avenue and Damon. You do have a slight delay. And on the outbound Stevenson Lakeshore Drive to the Tri-State, you're looking at 32 minutes. On the Dan Ryan inbound, 95th to the Byrne Interchange, 15 minutes. A slight delay. There is an overturned vehicle on the Dan Ryan inbound off-ramp to outbound Eisenhower, and traffic is slow from Cermak with it. On the Dan Ryan outbound Byrne Interchange to 95th, a 10-minute ride. I'm KT. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. But now a check of your forecast from QC Kinetics.
Today will be mostly sunny with lower humidity. Expect a high of 86. Tonight will be clear with a low of 69. Tomorrow, anticipate warm weather with more sun than clouds and a high of 89. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment brought to you by Unleash Your Wealth with Raj Shah and Rick Borick this Saturday at 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. Learn more at scwealthadvisors.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
He's even worse than you think. Good Tuesday morning. Amy Jacobson here. Chris Kroc in for Dan Proft today and tomorrow. And then you're going to be solo on Thursday on the eve of Independence Day, correct?
I'm getting my training in. I'm working very hard studying. I'll have my license soon, hopefully.
Yes, well, who I've been studying, and you have as well, and people warn them, is Zohran Mamdani, the communist who won the Democratic nomination to become New York City mayor. Now, of course, they have a general election coming up in November, but he's doubling down on pretty much everything, and he's worse than you thought. He wants to not only eliminate billionaires, but he also wants to higher taxes for certain white neighborhoods.
Explain why you are bringing race into your tax proposal.
That is just a description of what we see right now. It's not driven by race. It's more of an assessment of what neighborhoods are being undertaxed versus overtaxed. I don't think that we should have billionaires because, frankly, it is so much money in a moment of such inequality.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You could also text us on that very line. But wait, it gets worse. And Chris, you and I were talking about this yesterday. He wants to cease production of factories. Is that correct? Here he is on Meet the Press.
We have to continue to elect more socialists, and we have to ensure that we are unapologetic about our socialism. There are also other issues that we firmly believe in, whether it's BDS, right, or whether it's the end goal of ceasing the means of production, where we do not have the same level of support at this very moment. And what I want to say is that it is critical that in the way that we organize, in the way that we set up our work and our priorities, that we do not leave any one issue for the other, that we do not meet a moment and only look at what people are ready for, but that we are doing both of these things in tandem, because it is critical for us to both meet people where they're at and to also organize for what is correct and for what is right, and to ensure that over time we can bring people to that issue.
312-642-5600. I had not heard that before. I mean, he's just such a disgrace, and we warned them. I mean, it was so bad that the Chicago Tribune editorial board wrote an op-ed in New York saying, don't do what we did. Don't make the same socialist mistakes that we made in regards to putting Brandon Johnson in office, because this guy's even worse than Brandon Johnson. This guy hates Jewish people.
Asked about the term globalize the intifada, if it makes you uncomfortable. In that moment, you did not condemn the phrase. Now, just so folks understand, it's a phrase that many people hear as a call to violence against Jews. There's been a lot of attention on this issue, so I want to give you an opportunity to respond here and now. Do you condemn that phrase, globalize the intifada?
That's not language that I use. The language that I use and the language that I will continue to use to lead this city is that which speaks clearly to my intent, which is an intent grounded in a belief in universal human rights.
But do you actually condemn it? I think that's the question and the outstanding issue that a number of people, both of the Jewish faith and beyond, have. Do you condemn that phrase, globalize the intifada, which a lot of people hear as a call to violence against Jews?
I've heard from many Jewish New Yorkers who have shared their concerns with me, especially in light of the horrific attacks that we saw in Washington, D.C. and in Boulder, Colorado, about this moment of anti-Semitism in our country and in our city. And I've heard those fears and I've had those conversations, and ultimately they are part and parcel of why in my campaign I've put forward a commitment to increase funding for anti-hate crime programming by 800%.
But very quickly, for the people who care about the language and who feel really concerned by that phrase, why not just condemn it?
My concern is to start to walk down the line of language and making clear what language I believe is permissible or impermissible takes me into a place similar to that of the president, who is looking to do those very kinds of things, putting people in jail for writing an op-ed, putting them in jail for protesting. Ultimately, it's not language that I use. It's language I understand there are concerns about. And what I will do is showcase my vision for the city through my work.
And it's we learning this morning that Karen Diamond, she's 82 years old. She was severely burned in the Boulder, Colorado attack. She died from her injuries.
That is exactly what I was going to bring up.
And she's a Holocaust survivor. Okay?
That is exactly what I was going to bring up.
I mean,
that's what this all leads to.
Right. This is
killing
accepting this violence in Boulder, Colorado, accepting the violence. And I don't care what he says. He talked about, like, he acts like he cares, the violence in Washington, D.C. That young, beautiful couple getting gunned down by a socialist from Chicago, whose father, by the way, was Chuy Garcia's guest.
Yes.
For an event at the Capitol with Trump. I mean, it's too much. And he's going to win. I really think that he will win because I think Curtis Sliwa and Eric Adams might split the vote, and this is what you're going to have.
There's first of all, they got that ranked choice voting is a joke, but nonetheless, it might actually work on this because if he gets
talk about that.
Yeah, look, and I'm not an expert on it, but I can tell you, you have your first choice, which he might get the majority of the first choice, but not high enough for a threshold. I don't know what the threshold is. Then you put your second choice, and then you put your third choice. In normal circumstances, no one wants this. It's horrible. It's a liberal thing. But in this circumstance, I'm thinking it might help because you have a second choice and people might coalesce around a second choice and a third choice. So I have a feeling that there's enough dumb, uneducated people, and they're not uneducated in the normal way of saying it, like a college degree or a secondary degree, but they don't know about what Marxism and communism does. And they don't see where this is leading to. Can I add some unbelievable anti-Semitic things this guy also did?
Yeah, please.
This is a column. Here we go. October 8th, he put, I mourn hundreds of people killed across Israel and Palestine in the last 36 hours. The path forward is toward a just and lasting peace can only begin by ending the occupation and dismantling apartheid. That's literally the next day. And then 5 days later, October 13th, he says Israel was on the brink of genocide. He was arrested while protesting against Israel on that day. He co-founded Students for Justice in Palestine, which is a Hamas-backed group that distributes Hamas literature, and they instructed their chapters on October 8th across the country to celebrate the historic win for Palestinian resistance. And here's the coup de grace for those who know about the Holy Land Foundation case. After George Bush, after 9/11, he signed a law making it illegal to raise money for terrorists, whether it be under the guise of Palestinian aid or whatever. So this is the largest ever terrorism financing case in United States history, by where I live in Dallas-Fort Worth. And the FBI, under oath, they took down, they cuffed and stuffed and put in jail 5 people raising money to kill Jews. They raised $6, $7, $8 million. And they're called the Holy Land Foundation. And this guy, Zohran Mamdani, he literally, when he was doing his rap career in 2017, he sang "My Love to the Holy Land 5." Look him up. And
one congressman wanted him deported because of the lyrics in that rap song. Which
I love that.
I don't love that because I'm a big proponent of free speech.
I love the joke
expression, but
the joke.
Yeah. He also wants to defund police, freeze the rent, no cost childcare, $30 minimum wage, free busing, and $65 million for gender affirming care. And of course, he wants to abolish ICE. But back to defunding police, he wants to have a civilian force.
That's a disgrace.
So if there's a parade, there'd be a civilian force, protecting the people instead of taking the resources from the NYPD. But that's the same idea Eric Adams had back in 2021. Listen.
Even at parades, we need to change the assignments of police officers. I don't need you making overtime sitting at a parade or street fair. There's no reason for that. Let's have a civilian population that's trained in crowd control. Police officers don't have to respond to traffic accidents. Police officers don't have to respond to aided. There are things that our police department should not be doing, mental health issues that's nonviolent. So we need to reshape public safety. We're addicted to 911. We're like 911 crackheads. Every time something happens, we'll pick up the phone and call 911. No, new style of policing, public safety, community involvement, bring down the cost, take that money and put it into services that prevent crime and not respond crime, like dyslexia.
312-642-5600. There's one well-known Democrat who, Bill Ackerman, he's the American billionaire.
Ackerman, yeah.
Ackerman, excuse me. Did I say Ackerman?
It's okay.
Ackerman, words are hard someday. The billionaire hedge fund manager, and he tweeted out or put on X, I awoke this morning gravely concerned about New York City. I thought, what has New York City become that an avowed socialist who has supported defunding the police, whose solution to lowering food prices is city-owned supermarkets, who doesn't understand that freezing rents will only reduce the supply of housing, and that he just went on, and now he's waking up. And as William F. Buckley argued, you have to give people room to come over to your side.
Here's another thing.
We'll take him and anybody else who wants to come on.
Amen. Zoran Mandami also wants to buy up the housing on the private market and turn it into communes. I'm not making this up. You want to hear that?
Sure.
This is unbelievable. I just tweeted this out overnight, and here we go. Watch this. This is a new one that came across the wire.
Go further toward the Vienna model. We'll have to go beyond the market. We can establish community land trusts to gradually buy up housing on the private market and convert it to community ownership. We can give tenants a right of first refusal to buy out their landlords when buildings go up for sale. And we can fully commit to a new era of social housing, ending subsidies for luxury housing development and using our wealth to build beautiful, high-quality social housing projects that offer good homes and strong communities to everyone. We won't decommodify housing overnight, but we know what we have to do, and we have history to guide us.
He's going to buy up the housing and then turn it into communes. Did you hear that?
BlackRock?
This is unfreaking believable.
Oh, it's scary stuff. President Trump reacted to this.
He's a communist. I think it's very bad for New York. I don't know that he's going to get in. If he does get in, I'm going to be president, and he's going to have to do the right thing, or they're not getting any money. Whoever's mayor of New York is going to have to behave themselves, or the federal government is coming down very tough on them financially.
He said if Benjamin Netanyahu comes to New York, he's going to have him arrested.
Oh, he's a radical left lunatic.
Arrest BBB, Benjamin Netanyahu.
Mm-hmm. When he comes to the UN.
When he comes, yeah. I know. Well, he's coming to the White House next week. Should we tell Zoran so he can stand outside and try and make a citizen's arrest? 312-642-5600. Let's go to Corey in Woodlawn. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, thanks for taking the call, guys. You know, if you read these socialists and communists, just read their quotes. Mao says the weeds of socialism is better than the crops of capitalism. He also said that we will grind the middle class between the boot of inflation and taxation. They abhor private property, and they abhor people understanding. He specifically said to read too many books is a bad thing. No one is reading what these guys have said or what they've done in the past. And this new generation of individuals that do not read, that do not follow instructions, they're going to march right into these individuals' lines. This is bad news for America because they turned Chicago into Robert Taylor. No one remembers Robert Taylor, Stateway Gardens, Rockwell Gardens. I mean, this is what they're doing now in Chicago. They've instituted this stuff that he's saying on the television. They've already did this in Chicago. They've got ordinances in Woodlawn right now where if you sell your property, you've got to give your tenants first right of refusal. This doesn't make any sense.
I know. He has no experience he has no experience in managing an organization, let alone a city with $100 billion budget and a $2 trillion economy. And he chants for globalizing the Antifada, and he thinks that that's acceptable. And nobody stopped him because you know why? He had slick campaign ads. His mother is a director. Well, first of all, he's a rapper, so he knows how to perform. And his mom is a director. She worked on a few Disney films. And so he came across as likable, young, something completely different than Biden.
He's smiling.
Here's
smiling while he's saying
smart.
these things.
He's smiling.
Yeah.
You know, he's worldly. He was born in Uganda, came to New York when he was 8 years old and sold them a bill of goods. And now we're seeing who he really is, a socialist, communist, and Marxist. Bob in Buffalo Grove, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, Ian. You're always great talking to you. Great to hear you, Chris.
Thank you.
This ought to be a litmus test for all Democrats. Where do you stand on this? Are you with him or against him? And what positions of his do you object to? I mean, let's find out where the Democrats really are on this guy.
We know they congratulated him on his win. We know that. What's his
Schumer's
name?
with him. AOC's with him.
Hakeem
Jeffries is with him.
Bill Clinton. Not that he's relevant anymore, but Bill Clinton was also congratulating him. They're all excited about this, but they won't endorse him. But they are congratulating him.
It's such a Democrat thing to do. Bob, are you choking your dog Fred right now?
Yeah, don't choke him out. Don't choke him out, Bob.
That's the way. I'm in my car right now, and this is the way he is in a car ride.
Well, he probably thinks he's getting because he rescued Fred. He probably thinks you're taking him back to the shelter
or to communism with Zoran. Pew Research
Thanks, Bob, for the phone call.
Pew Research Take care, Bob. If he's anywhere near Dundee and Buffalo Grove Road, that's by where I grew up. Pew Research, 2024 electorate confirms the shift in Jewish voters to Trump. And Trump literally got the highest share of the Jewish vote since 1998. Cackling Kamala got 63%. Trump tallied 35%.
Why? That's so. You think after all that has gone on, it would be reverse.
I agree.
You know, and you think it would be 100% to 0, or maybe 98 to 2. But I have relatives who are Jewish, and they were all Biden and Harris, and I just.
Oh yeah.
And I couldn't
Most of my friends
talk to I tried to. And I listened to them, and they just hate Orange Man. Orange Man bad, can't listen. Orange Man bad, I'm not going to listen to anything you say.
Well, at some point, when you are being threatened, when you are being attacked, you will have a choice, and you'll have to decide. That guy from in Glastonbury that band that
Bob Villain.
Yes,
it's
which
a
is
take
ironic.
on Well,
because
so the U.S. this morning, U.S. visas, their U.S. visas were revoked. Their agents dumped them because this is what they did. They're a British punk rock band, and this is what they did during their concert.
Free, 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 free. All right, but have you heard this one though? Death, death to the IDF, death, death to the IDF, death, death to the IDF.
Israelis. Yeah.
Death, death to the IDF. Death, death to the IDF. Hell yeah, from the river to the sea, Palestine must be, will be, inshallah, it will be free.
Well, you're not free to travel to the United States anymore.
Thank God he was going to open up for a band starting this fall. I'm so grateful they did this. Very, very terrifying and scary to see as many as, 100,000 or more. This was live streamed on BBC.
Mm-hmm.
And it's terrifying. Ayaan Hirsi Ali, you probably have heard of her. I heard of her too. And she's a conservative, a columnist and stuff, an author and all sorts of stuff. She was raised in a Muslim home, and she was, genital mutilation was done to her as a child. Yeah, she became a Christian, and she's a bold, fierce conservative. She wrote a column that is getting tons of retweets on the Free Press. Glastonbury, which we just heard, and the Purge of the Jews. This is Islamism soaked in Maoism, she says. One invokes the divine, the other pretends to be secular. Both demand submission. Islam through bombs, blood, barbarity. Maoism through under the boot of equity. Dreams of paradise after death. The other promises utopia after sufficient political, social purges. There's more on this if you want to hear it, if we have time, but I got some highlights out of it. It's unbelievable what she writes and how this has all come together, and this is extraordinarily dangerous. She says this is not a protest. When people are doing this stuff on the campuses and the Jewish community centers, kosher delis are attacked, Jewish family dining out at Los Angeles or New York, a stranger comes in their faces, what are your thoughts on Palestine? She says this is not a protest. It is a predicate for violence. And the end game to all this, I've said, when those folks, there was a Jewish guy who was at when the two embassy employees were murdered in the streets of D.C. And there was a Jewish young man who went to Colombia. He was on fake news CNN, and she said to me, what did you see when you saw him? He saw him and saw him eye to eye. Right. And he says, I saw the same thing in him that I saw because he went to Colombia. At Colombia,
right? We played that soundbite. Yep, I saw the
that's
same.
Right. I'm sorry.
No, but he said the same thing that I saw.
And she said no.
The hate in his face that I saw on the campus of Columbia.
She said no. You don't know that. They don't. That's not what they're trying to do. Is yes, I saw this fake news CNN idiot who may have never gone to Colombia, was never in these protests, is not Jewish, wasn't there when the people were murdered. She tells him he's wrong. Because she's on
they
CNN.
Tell people how to feel. So let's quickly go to Tim in Woodstock. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, good morning, Amy. What's really striking to me is how quickly we can lose the lessons of history. It was only like 24 years ago that the Twin Towers came down in New York, and there was like a brief moment, it seems like now, of patriotism, the resurgence of it in New York, and then their police force, and people rallied, around the flag, so to speak. But in 24 years, the education system, and a lot of these kids weren't even born yet then who are voting for this guy and love this guy. And nobody has made sure that they understand the lessons of history, what took place just 24 years ago. And it's like we're watching it in real time, but it's just so sad to me.
Imagine this guy as mayor when 9/11 happened.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah,
You might even cheer it on. All right, thanks, Tim, for the phone call. Amy Jacobson, Chris Crock for Dan Proft on AM 560, Chicago's Morning Answer.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Have you seen the Milo bedroom at Penny Mustard Furnishings?
You know it, Daddy-O, and it's boss. I mean, if you don't dig the mod mood of the Milo bedroom, you're Dullsville.
Ben.
What's your bag, man?
Why are you talking like that?
I think I know. He's saying the Milo bedroom from Penny Mustard takes you back to the times of Mad Men, martinis, and mop tops.
Right on, Nicole.
Oh, well, I agree. It's refreshingly retro. I love Milo's clean, streamlined look.
It's a gas.
Sophisticrafted in the USA with solid wood and scaled to fit any room.
What you mean to say is, the Milo bedroom is perfect for your pad.
Yeah, dude. It's totally bodacious.
Wrong decade, Arvid.
Oh.
Don't be so square, man.
The Milo bedroom with queen platform bed, 6-drawer dresser, mirror, and 3-drawer nightstand, starting at $52.09 at Penny Mustard.
7 locations throughout Chicagoland.
PennyMustard.com.
Groovier versions of what people dig.
Penny Mustard Furnishing.
If you're living with pain, see how Relief Factor can help.
I'm an artist, and I'm in my studio. I listen to the radio all day, and I'm hearing the ads about Relief Factor. And I've got pain in my neck, and it's getting worse. And I'm thinking, well, I'm going to go ahead and order this. 2 weeks later, I've got much better range of motion. If you're experiencing pain at a certain point in life, I would get Relief Factor.
Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor. Go to ReliefFactor.com and get your 3-week quick start today. Only $19.95.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time and skip the regular line at the airport and pay for speedy security. Imagine not having to quickly unpack and pack at the place you already came packed to. And wearing your shoes the whole time you're there? You can't put a price on that kind of luxury. Well, actually you can, and you paid for it. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time for speedy security. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Hey, this is Sean Thompson. You know, there's an old joke about Uncle Sam's tax short form. The first line says, "How much did you make?" The next line says, "Send it in." Sadly, that's not funny at all for honest people who pay taxes. But that's exactly what a lot of people do in their retirement. They take money out of their 401k and their IRA, and they send it into the IRS. Tom Fortino of Alpha Wealth Group believes there's a better plan for your retirement than Uncle Sam's plan of send it in. What if your current plan includes thousands of dollars in unnecessary taxes and fees? What if you're headed for higher Medicare payments, lower Social Security checks? What if the savings you may realize allows you to retire even earlier? Wouldn't you want to know all of that right now? Call Tom Fortino and the team at Alpha Wealth Group and find out today. Call 630-864-6711. The number again, 630-864-6711. You can also visit alphawealthgroup.com to schedule your no-obligation consultation.
AM 560, The Answer.
Well, Elon Musk is back. He's now active on X, saying that Musk vows to unseat Republicans who back Trump's one big, beautiful bill. That is not helpful. We'll be keeping an eye on that as they are now on the Senate floor debating once again. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, former Alderman Bob Fiorretti joins us. He's got a new mission, how to disrupt the trade of human trafficking. But first, let's step into that newsroom. Here is John Cruz.
Good morning. 72 degrees in Chicago and AM 560 The Answer. In the AlmostFreeTeeth.com newsroom, I'm John Cruz. Plenty of sun this first day of July and into the Independence Day holiday, a high of 78 today. The suspect behind the deadly Idaho ambush fire has been ID'd, but his motive still a mystery. At some point when firefighters asked Wes Rowley to move his vehicle, that's when he engaged, killing 2 and injuring 1 more. 6 hours later, his body removed. Reports saying he took his own life. President Trump today set to visit what's known as Alligator Alcatraz, a detention center in Florida's Everglades. The center expected to eventually be able to hold around 5,000 people. At least 30 drivers had a rough commute Monday in the tri-state. An 8-foot pothole in the road finally patched back up, but it left about 24 cars with flat tires. Those motorists now facing insurance and repairs. IDOT says it may cover those, but a claim needs to be made. And a vigil last night for the victims of a Thursday apartment fire on the city's west side, claiming 4 lives. A 5-year-old boy still in critical condition. Investigators are looking for an arsonist, and a reward is now being offered. News, a service of almostfreeteeth.com. Have you been getting high quotes for dental implants? With medical PPO insurance, it's possible to save 90% off on average. See if you qualify today at almostfreeteeth.com, making smiles great again. We're checking traffic in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Mike Gallagher explains what drives his show.
Now, am I oversimplifying this? Let's figure it out together. This is a caller-driven show. If you're new to what we do, I like you as our talking heads. I don't really like authors and guests, and I like Americans. That's what this show is about. Americans talking with Americans and trying to figure it all out together. I want to help.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Charlie Kirk at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Experience a luxurious summer when you visit Trump International Hotel and Towers, Chicago, a Forbes Travel Guide 5-star hotel. Take in stunning views of the Chicago skyline from the heart of the city, steps away from the iconic Magnificent Mile and the revitalized Riverwalk. Treat yourself to exquisite dining at Terrace 16 Restaurant and Rebar Lounge, overlooking the Chicago River and Lake Michigan. Catch the Navy Pier fireworks display from Terrace 16's patio on Wednesdays and Saturdays all summer long. Relax in immaculately designed suites that offer the utmost level of comfort. Refresh in the state-of-the-art spa featuring a 75-foot swimming pool, steam and sauna rooms, relaxation lounge, and more. The Trump Hotel Chicago offers sophistication and elegance to downtown Chicago and is a convenient travel destination for your summer getaway. Simply visit Trump Chicago online to make your reservations today and search offers to find the never settle summer stay. Book today.
Welcome back to Ask Hassleus. I'm Weston. What's your question?
How do you get pee out of an old mattress?
Well,
I'm asking for a friend.
The best way to remove urine from a mattress is to trade in that old mattress for a new Beautyrest or Sealy Posturepedic.
But that'll cost a lot of money.
Not at Hassleus Mattress. Through Monday, trade in your old mattress and get additional savings of $248 off a queen and $348 off a king. And that's on top of our everyday low prices.
Come on, everybody says lowest prices.
Others sell a Sealy Posturepedic Queen Emeryville A mattress for $1268. Hassleus sells it for $1034, but through Monday, it's just $786. And check out the low prices on Beautyrest and more. Plus, free next day delivery.
What does my friend do with his old soaked mattress?
We haul it away for pee.
What was that?
Sorry, I meant for free.
Sure you did.
Open 9 to 9. Find an employee-free showroom near you at Hassleus.com.
It's hard to find a nursing home where Christ-centered care is provided. For over 130 years, Lutheran Life has served the needs of seniors at the Lutheran Home in Arlington Heights. With chaplains on full-time duty, the Lutheran Home provides spiritual support as your loved ones confront the hard realities of aging. Our nurses will care for your bodies, and our chaplains will care for your souls. Find out how by visiting LutheranLifeCommunities.org today. That's LutheranLifeCommunities.org.
Honey, we're not moving, but we gotta do something about this kitchen.
Funny you mention it. I just stopped by Forever Remodeling's new showroom in Niles. I saw over a dozen kitchen and bathroom layouts they designed. They even offered to stop by the house and give us a free in-home design consultation.
What'd you tell them?
That we're free today?
Visit foreverremodeling.com today. That's the number 4, everremodeling.com. Forever Remodeling, stress-free and high-quality remodeling.
Eggland's Best, the only eggs with more fresh and delicious taste, plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best, better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Take a look at your
Drive in the Team Hotberg Traffic Center with traffic service of Blindster.com. A 15-minute ride on the Edens inbound Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound Montrose to Lake Cook, 13 minutes. On the inbound Kennedy O'Hare to Burn Interchange, you're looking at a 30-minute ride stopping and going inbound between Edens Junction and Sacramento. On the outbound Kennedy Burn Interchange to O'Hare, 30 minutes. That's a 6-minute delay. Now, the travel time on Eisenhower inbound Jane Addams to Old Post Office, a 9-minute delay at 37 minutes. You're slow inbound between Wolf and First Avenue. Outbound Eisenhower between Old Post Office and Jane Addams, just under 30. Stevenson inbound from 355 to Lakeshore Drive, 32 minutes. And on the Stevenson outbound, you're looking at a 22-minute ride between Lakeshore Drive and the Tri-State. On the Tri-State, heavy and slow northbound between Reagan Memorial Tollway and the Eisenhower. Dan Ryan inbound 95th to Burn Interchange, you're looking at 16 minutes. Outbound Dan Ryan Burn Interchange to 95th, 11 minutes. I'm KT. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Now here's the latest forecast from QC Kinetics.
Today will be mostly sunny and less humid with a high of 86. Tonight, expect clear skies with a low of 69. Tomorrow will be warm with more sun than clouds, reaching a high of 89. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Forever Remodeling. Stress-free and high-quality remodeling. View their stunning transformations online at the number 4everremodeling.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
A big win against human trafficking 2 days ago in Lake County, Illinois. 27 men were arrested for human trafficking, which, is a great thing because if there's no buyers, there is no market, and it's been a growing problem. And human trafficking does have an impact on crime here in the city of Chicago. Good morning, Amy Jacobson here. Chris Kroc in for Dan Proft for today and tomorrow. And Dan will be making his triumphant return on Monday, July 7th. So thanks for helping out, partner.
Oh, my pleasure. Always fun.
Appreciate it. With more on the subject at hand, let's welcome back to the program Bob Fiorretti, two-term alderman of the 2nd Ward from 2007 to 2015, and 2nd Ward Democratic committeeman, and most recently the Republican candidate for Cook County State's Attorney. And now I do believe, have you declared yourself a Republican, Mr. Fiorretti?
Yes, I am. I've been a Republican, and I was accused of being a Republican even when I was in the city council because I voted for fiscal responsibility, family values, and backing our police officers.
Wow, so you took a lot of heat for becoming an official Republican. Have you lost any friends over it?
A few have been very disgruntled, and as they make the approach, they always I'll say they hold their nose as they talk to me, but then they realize that they're on the wrong side, and then they say, "Well, I can't do that because look what I'm tied into in my ward and how I get my money from certain people." So I think we see the whole corrupt system on what happens here, from the governor on straight down in terms of party politics and who controls who and what, and we see the corruption with the convictions that have been happening in the federal court and so on and so forth. So if I lose friends, they're not really friends. People know who I am, and I've always stood for the truth, and I keep battling the right battles that we need to battle here.
As a recovering Democrat, I mean, is it amazing to you how the party has gone way far to the left, extremely progressive, and then you look at what's happening in New York, and Zohran Mamdani he's almost a communist. I mean, some would argue that he is a communist.
Well, I think you're correct, but I first heard it in the city council. I remember, Toni Preckwinkle getting up one day, and she was talking about black and brown, and then didn't mention white. And I thought, as Democrats, we should be uniting people, not dividing people. And that was the beginning of how I saw the Democratic Party failing. I grew up in through my parents who were Republicans, but they believed in the Kennedy era, and they saw a young person who wanted to make change and who was a World War II veteran and a hero for what he did. And things started collapsing in that party, and it's gone so far left. I hope people in New York wake up so they can avoid what we have here in Chicago. But the people in many of these cities, there's an appeal to the same type of people, but how they believe. Those that want a handout versus a hand up. And that's how people are voting. And I think you see the difference between the numbers that come out. But realistically, we've got to look at when a third of the population in our city, in New York, only come out and vote, we have problems. And I've always heard, well, if you don't vote, you don't have a voice. Well, you do have a voice by not voting. You're telling them that these other candidates just stink. And we need people who can stand up and take on the establishment. This coming November, not this November, next year, is going to be tough for Republicans in this state. Pritzker will spend whatever it takes to elect his people up and down the ticket. Look what he did in this April elections. He backed about 270-some Democratic candidates, and he did negative ads on about 230 of them that were running in those municipal elections. He wants to turn the state of Illinois solid blue, but I think if people get together, they organize, no matter how much money, we can make dents in that armor and make sure that Republicans or people with fiscal responsibility that believe in faith, that believe in family values, that believe in school choice will get elected this next year.
No,
Bob,
you're in a... Oh, yes. Go, Chris.
Bob, it's Chris Crock. I got to ask you, you talk about race was mentioned, and you got this story from ABC 7 about the city council passing the curfew proposal. Mayor's going to, veto it and stuff. But it says right here, two different comments from some of these folks. Mayor Johnson says offering up police power, extended police power, has not boded well for black people and brown people in this country. There's race for an excuse. You have Alderman Jason Irvin saying giving authority to a department that historically, police department, has not had the best interest in black kids in its place is not something I want to sign up for. So it's always about race. That's always the excuse to not hold people accountable. And then when you look at this here, large groups with the teen takeovers, that shouldn't even be we shouldn't even know what that means, teen takeovers. What is this crap? It shouldn't even be.
I think you said it. It's the problem that they don't realize is they control the structure. We have a black mayor.
Yes.
We have a county board. Virtually everything that is run through the House and Senate down in Springfield is a black liberal or very liberal anti-police agenda that we see.
Wow.
And so I'm agreeing with you. And the problem that I'm worried about on this rolling curfew is the lack of, I'll call it, due process, because and they get together. I found this out to be true a long time ago when I was in the city council. We were monitoring a couple of the high schools that would all get out at the same time, and then they'd meet at 35th in Indiana and go on a rampage out there. And so we had to break it up. And the way we somewhat broke it up was, yes, we had police there on the corners at that time, but we had different times for letting out the schools. And so that we stopped most of that. Well, when they get together in this social media and say, hey, we're going to meet in Streeterville at this address and everybody have do what they need to do, creates the problem that we're faced with. And if we don't arrest people, if we don't prosecute people, then you know what? It doesn't matter what we do in terms of snap curfew. We need people that are going to stand up and enforce the law. and bring them before judges that are not controlled by the Madigan, Preckwinkle, Pritzker combine in terms of how they got there, and make decisions not based upon who their patron saint is, but by what the law is and how we should enforce it.
Wow. Now, the city council passed 2722, but Mayor Johnson vetoed it. So what do we do now? Just sit and watch them come and do their takeovers?
Well, you know, it's frustrating because we have a superintendent who hopefully can start telling his troops to make those arrests.
Yeah,
we've seen some of our folks there on the police department call it knuckleheads and nonsense. Well, they're just pure violators of the law, and they need to be arrested. And you know what? You can deal with any social services that they need after they've been arrested, after they appear in court, and get their parents and hold them accountable. This type of allowing this running through our streets and gathering these hookups, as I call them, is not to be tolerated and shouldn't be tolerated. And the people, and most of it's occurring obviously in the Streeterville downtown area, and those people are frustrated. They've got enough other issues from noise, traffic, motorcycling. People say, "Oh, well, you move into the city and you expect that." No, you don't. You have a quality of life. There are certain things that, you move into a neighborhood that's, if you move into next to the airport, well, you're going to hear jets. But when you moved there a long time ago, you didn't expect it. So you have certain expectations that affect the quality of your life and what you do.
Now, Bob, we're speaking with Bob Fiorretti, former 2nd Ward Alderman and Democratic Committeeman. You're also an attorney, and lately you've been focusing on the trade of human trafficking and how to stop it. Can you explain?
Well, actually, when I was an alderman, I received every police report that was coming down through, not just in the 2nd Ward, but throughout the city of Chicago. And I noticed in the downtown region, somewhere on the west and south sides of my ward, that there was arrest for prostitution, what was happening, and I thought, okay, so I went further into it, and this was probably about my 2nd year being in office, so it was probably about 2009 or 2010, and I started looking into the issue of what was happening on human trafficking. I brought it up to the chief judge at that time, the presiding judge of the criminal court system, Paul Biebel, and we had a fairly extensive conversation, which led to me helping him on some of his reform courts, women's court, veterans court, and helping him there. But we noticed a trend, and at the time we were looking at some of this human trafficking, and we came across astonishing numbers that were happening in the city of Chicago, anywhere from 15 to 25,000 acts of some sort of human trafficking a day, and Chicago really was a global center, it turns out, for human trafficking. At that point, I put together a resolution that was also signed by former Alderman Joanne Thompson, and we had a hearing before 2 committees. And we had about 20 aldermen that showed up through the course of it, and I remember one came up to me and said, "I never knew any of this was happening in our city." And we had people then, the state's attorney, people from Chicago Police Department, the Federal Department of Justice. Anita Alvarez was the state's attorney at that time, and she came to testify, and we started looking at some of the task forces. And I've been very interested in this because, to me, human trafficking and that amount here in the city of Chicago just erodes what I'll call the rule of law. And we just recently had another seminar on it. I co-chair the Chicago Bar Association's anti-human trafficking committee, and we had about 100 people that were participants in the seminar, and we had some of our speakers included like Tom Dart, who's been very innovative in terms of what he does in this issue. We had the former Lieutenant Governor Sanguinetti. She was helping moderate some of it. We had the state's attorney's office, who were prosecutors and victim support liaisons, and so on and so forth. It was.
Do you think you're making a difference? Do you think that you're tackling this issue?
Well, I think we have to, first of all, we have to raise awareness and educate attorneys. We have to, police officers, even teachers, nurses, social workers, community leaders, all of which we had there. And I think through the education process, we do make a difference. Okay. But we're dealing with the internet now, too. And the internet, with AI, preys upon people and young victims who get involved in this trade and who become this. I mean, this is modern day slavery. Let's not kid ourselves. No. And the impact here. And we need to break it up here in the city of Chicago. And I'm going to do my darndest up and down I can to make sure that we alert people and we break this, because this is part of our overall problem in terms of law and order and having a quality of life that we need here in this city and region. Yep. So when they had 27 people, those were all people that, you know, as you said to begin with, if you break up that the need, that ends the human trafficking.
If there's no buyer, there's no market. Bob, unfortunately, we're up against the clock here, but thank you so much for joining us, and we appreciate it. We'll have you back soon.
You got it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Before you go down that road, hit pause. Amy Jacobson here, and I want to tell you about something that's helping a lot of AM 560 listeners get their lives back. It's my friends at QC Kinetics. They are the leaders in regenerative medicine. They provide treatments like advanced cellular therapy and platelet-rich plasma designed to help your body heal itself. So no more masking the pain. This goes to the root of the problem to provide healing. 92% of patients report satisfaction with their results. Even Joe Rogan loves it. AM 560 listener Tracy is proud to report that she's a new QC Kinetics customer. It doesn't cost anything for a second opinion. Weekend appointments available, and this could be life-changing. Call my friends at QC Kinetics today and tell them Amy Jacobson sent you. Call 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. Again, 312-809-5955.
This podcast, Alex Marlowe, brings deep research, prescient analysis, and world-class guests.
Biden was deteriorating. He was of decreased mental function. He did have major physical damage, but not necessarily the stuff that's being focused on at the moment. What's most relevant is the dementia and the brain aneurysm stuff that no one is talking about, and no one is answering that question, how much that has had an effect on his life.
Subscribe today on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Rumble, or at SalemPodcastNetwork.com. AM 560, The Answer.
Frank's History Minute. In-depth history with Frank from Arlington Heights. The history you don't know, but Frank does. Take it away.
Good morning. It was President Andrew Jackson in the 1830s who truly increased executive power. His firing of many bureaucrats and establishing the spoils system, his changing of the veto to a tool to stop legislation he didn't like rather than just stopping something unconstitutional, his unilateral depositing of tariff revenue in politically favored pet banks, and his ignoring of the Marshall Court's Worcestershire versus Georgia decision all changed the balance of power between the three branches permanently. Any actions that President Trump is taking today pale in comparison, and if anything, restore executive power to where it once was before Watergate. Thankfully, the court has come to its senses again with its recent ruling on ending judicial supremacy. A switch in time that saved nine, goes the old saying regarding the 1930s Supreme Court, that eventually acquiesced to the New Deal and FDR's second term. Roosevelt, elected in huge landslides that reflected the popular will, was frustrated that SCOTUS had declared the NARA and the AAA as unconstitutional, so he pushed the idea of packing the courts. But in 1937, because Justice Owen Roberts switched his vote from likely opposition to upholding these laws, court packing now became unnecessary. And not only was a New Deal saved, but decades of progressive jurisprudence ensued, culminating in the very liberal Warren Court. Now, some good decisions came out of this time, including Brown versus Board and Miranda versus Arizona, but the totality of the Warren Court's decisions also greatly increased the power of the federal government. And this is where the ongoing legal battle that started with the Rehnquist Court has to proceed further. The recent ending of Chevron deference is a start, but we have a long way to go on reducing the power of the unelected fourth branch. President Trump's new flexibility will likely only have a limited impact in the near term.
Thank you, Frank. Well done, as always. And happy 4th of July to you and to your family.
Yes, have a very happy 4th of July weekend.
Any plans, or what are you going to do?
I don't know.
Can't go to fireworks at the Arlington Park anymore.
As my grandpa said, those were illegal, so we can't do those.
Buy any. Yeah, no, can't buy any.
Oh, that's what he said. Let the professionals do it. All right, Frank, thank you so much. And it was, the Supreme Court rulings were great. It's 4 major wins in a row for the Republicans.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's helpful, but, we have to unwind decades of liberal jurisprudence from basically the 1940s through the 70s. And I don't think all the justices really have the guts to do it. I mean, Barrett did a good job with that decision, but
well, yeah, Amy Coney Barrett finally delivered for Trump. Finally,
yes,
for once, yeah. So we'll see over the next 30 years, but I have my doubts. But it was a good one on Friday, no doubt.
Yep. Thank you. The Supreme Court also dropped a massive victory for parental rights, ruling that schools must be required to give parental notification and an opt-out option for any LGBTQ plus books in schools. So if you have a segment on that, as a parent, you can opt out of it. So that's good. All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, it's the 4th of July, Chris. Coming up, you know what that means?
What does it mean?
Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Championship.
Yes.
Well, we're going to have the reigning champion from last year, and he's got a new challenger. We'll tell you who it is and how he's preparing for it. It is now 7 a.m., WIND, Chicago.
A new Senate record. I'm Chris Foster. Fox News. There have now been at least 45 votes on proposed amendments to the Republicans' big tax and spending bill, a voter-rama that started 23 and a half hours ago. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent on Fox and Friends.
I was just in touch with leadership up on the Hill, and I can tell you we are moving toward a vote today.
Fox's Aisha Hosni at the Capitol.
Senate Majority Leader John Thune does not currently have the votes to pass President Trump's big, beautiful bill, although the White House has now sent in Vice President J.D. Vance, and he's here not so much as the tie-breaking vote. Probably more likely he's here to try to negotiate, use his relationships with these senators to try to bring them across the finish line. You have 2 hard-nosed, Rand Paul and Tom Tillis. We have heard in the overnight hours that there were some efforts to try to flip Rand Paul by reducing the debt ceiling increase. That was something that he was pretty unhappy about, the debt ceiling being attached to this big, beautiful bill.
With no support from Democrats, no more than 3 Republicans can vote no for the bill to pass. President Trump will be in Florida today to see a new immigration detention facility in the Everglades.
The detention center is set on the Dade Collier Training and Transition Airport. Alligator Alcatraz will have 5,000 beds. The state says the site will cost $450 million a year to operate, which will be reimbursed by FEMA. Over the weekend, protesters lined up along Highway 41, which runs through the Everglades. Environmental activists have a federal lawsuit saying state and federal agencies did not follow environmental and land use laws. Assistant DHS Secretary Tricia McLaughlin is calling the lawsuit lazy, saying the land has been developed for more than a decade.
Fox's Madeline Rivera in D.C. It's day 2 of deliberations at the Sean Diddy Combs sex crimes trial in New York. Jurors so far have a question about the definition of drug distribution and want guidance about one juror alleged to not be able to follow the court's instructions. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning, 72 degrees in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm John Cruz in the Air Right Heating and Cooling newsroom. Lots of sun this morning and today, high of 78. The city of Chicago facing a huge budget deficit for 2026. Mayor Johnson attending the second of 4 roundtables last night meant to engage the public ahead of what could be a testy Chicago budget fight. The city projecting a deficit of nearly $1.2 billion. That might grow if there are cuts in federal dollars. A balanced budget must be passed by the end of this year. Speaking of budgets, school doesn't start till August 18th, but CPS facing a $730 million shortfall. That means pink slips for about 90 crossing guards and about 67 central and network offices. Now, to avoid cuts in the classroom, the mayor and the Chicago Teachers Union have been pushing for a high-interest short-term loan. Education experts call it the toughest situation CPS has seen budget-wise in years. Chicago firefighters battling a house fire overnight into the city's northwest side. That fire broke out just after 11 last night in the 5,000 block of West Windsor, and the fire burned through the home next door as well. Some neighbors reported hearing what they described as a small explosion before the fire. No major injuries reported. The investigation rolls on. The Douglas Park suspect accused of shooting 2 teenagers due in court today, but he's also allegedly shot 2 dogs in 2023. According to police, 55-year-old Charles Leto, a Marine veteran, feared for his life when he shot both dogs, killing one. In Thursday's incident, though, a new video shows the teens walking near Leto, who is a lifeguard with Chicago Park District. 15-year-old Marjay Dotson was killed. 14-year-old Jeremy Harrod is still in the hospital. Chicago Park District has put Leto on an unpaid emergency suspension. News is a service of Air Right Heating and Cooling, offering AM 560 listeners $56 off any service, including inspections. Don't wait for the heat wave for that old AC to break down. Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling today at AIR-RITE.com. Again, that's AIR-RITE.com. Check out the roads coming in 2 minutes on AM 560, The Answer.
Hugh Hewitt sees the president standing strong.
Look, they should have made the deal. I had a great deal for them. They should have made that deal. 60 days we talked about it, and in the end they decided not to do it, and now they wish they did it. And they want to meet, but it's a little late to meet, but they want to meet.
He's a developer. He's not going to offer them the same term sheet.
The Hugh Hewitt Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Michaela's Mobile Spa, Michaela! Michaela got a quick business insurance quote from Progressive and chose from over 30 customizable coverages. Sure, it helps she's her only employee and does literally everything. But while others would rest on their laurels, Michaela was hard at work saving big. So take that, hypothetical other employee who doesn't exist. Be your own Michaela. See if you could save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage is not available in all states or for all vehicles and coverage selections.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hi, Amy Jacobson here, and I won't sugarcoat it. Crime in Illinois is rampant. Every day we hear about home invasions, armed robberies, carjackings. It's terrifying. That's why I turned to Goldilocks for my home security. My family and I feel so much safer. They showed me what intruders look for and installed a state-of-the-art smart security system. They offer HD cameras, motion sensors, smart locks, and real-time mobile alerts. I check mine all the time. So whether I'm home or not, I know who's at my door and who shouldn't be. Goldilocks also secures businesses of all sizes. They have security doors, keyless entry, 24/7 monitoring. Trust me, you'll never regret being prepared, but you may regret doing nothing. Tell them Amy Jacobson sent you, and Goldilocks will include 3 months of monitoring for free with any new install. Call Goldilocks today, 708-889-5600. That's 708-889-5600, or visit them online at GoldilocksInc.com.
Taking a look at your drive in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center with traffic, a service of State Farm Insurance, a 17-minute ride, Edens inbound, Lake Cook to Montrose. You're slowing down Foster Avenue to Montrose Avenue. On the outbound, Edens, Montrose to Lake Cook, 14 minutes. Kennedy inbound, O'Hare to Bryn Interchange, 43 minutes. Stopping and going inbound between Edens Junction and Ogden Avenue. On the outbound, Kennedy, Byrne Interchange to O'Hare, you're looking at a 45-minute ride. Eisenhower inbound Jane Addams to the Old Post Office, a 15-minute delay at 47 minutes. On the Eisenhower outbound Old Post Office to Jane Addams, a 42-minute ride. Stevenson inbound 355 to Lakeshore, 45 minutes. Add this to the slow crash on the Stevenson inbound exit at California Avenue. On the Stevenson outbound Lakeshore Drive to the Tri-State, 32 minutes. Tri-State slow go northbound between Reagan Memorial and the Eisenhower. On the Dan Ryan inbound, you're looking at a 16-minute ride, Burn Interchange from 95th. On the outbound Dan Ryan, Burn Interchange to 95th, 11-minute ride. I'm KT. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Now here's the latest forecast from QC Kinetics.
Today will be mostly sunny and less humid with a high of 86. Tonight, expect clear skies with a low of 69. Tomorrow will be warm with more sun than clouds, reaching a high of 89. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by In the Know with Craig Bolanos, powered by VestGen Wealth Partners, Sunday morning at 10 on AM 560 The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560 The Answer.
Good Tuesday morning. Amy Jacobson here. Chris Crock in for Dan Proft. And whenever I hear Chris Crock, I think of crisscross, and I think of rapping.
Oh, that was great. We were wearing the Mary Tay and Francois Gibault jeans, going to HIP to get our Harlem Marine Plaza to get our clothes, and everybody used that little line on me there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Chris Crock. Thanks for filling in. And you are in Texas right now. That's where you've lived, but you are from Buffalo Grove, born and raised in Chicago, and then in the suburbs. So we're glad to have you here. And you can follow him on Twitter at Chris Crock Show, or tell us exactly. Or X. I'm sorry, I keep saying Twitter.
I call it Twitter. I cannot stand it. It sounds so stupid. I can't. So I still call it Twitter. So I'm with you. At Chris Crock Show. That's ChrisKrok at Chris Crock Show.
Okay. Thank you very much. I will follow you, and you will follow me. And
we follow each other, yeah.
Oh, yes, I know. Thank goodness. And also, we're keeping an eye on the Trump-Musk feud is reigniting as he just put on X. Anyone who campaigned on the promise of reducing spending but continues to vote on the biggest debt ceiling increase in history will see their face on this poster in the primary next year, and it shows Pinocchio with the word liar on it.
Yes.
So Musk is getting involved once again in telling Republicans that if you vote for this bill, I will primary you next time you're up for re-election.
And then Trump was talking about
They
doging.
can't be sitting well, by the way, because he's one of the richest men in the world.
Trump is also talking about doging SpaceX, and he's basically like, I will put Doge on every single contract we have with you.
I mean, I know that Musk thinks it's an insane spending bill, but I mean, he's got to stay in his lane here.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
They let him in. I mean, they gave him an entryway to the White House, and he stayed for a really long time. Yeah. And I appreciate what he did, but now it needs to, I mean, come on, hanging that over every Republican's head, that I'm going to launch a third party if, this happens, and I'm going to primary you if you vote for this bill. So
it's not going to work.
Stay tuned. All right. Are you a foodie, Chris?
I don't know. I mean, I eat a lot. I love eating a lot. How's that?
Food? What's your go-to food?
I could possibly.
Yeah.
I looked at this and I go, I have a problem. I eat. I don't do much, and then all of a sudden, bam! And my wife's like, where the hell did the ice cream go? Oh. I'm like, oh, that was me. She gets mad at me.
You eat the whole carton? So that's your go-to comfort food, or?
I don't even know. Yeah, I guess ice cream is really good. Yeah, there's very few things that aren't good.
Yeah, well, competitive eating, that's what we're talking about here, because we have Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Championship on the 4th of July. And competitive eating, I've heard, takes more than a strong stomach. It takes mental grit, physical preparation. And if you ask Patrick Deep Dish Bertoletti, a real love for food, and he joins us now on our turnkey.pro answer line. Good morning, Patrick. How are you?
Good morning. Thanks for having me out today.
Yeah, and you're from Chicago, right?
Yeah, I grew up in Palos Heights, but now I live on the north side in North Park, the neighborhood.
Oh. And so you're the world's number 2 ranked competitive eater. So congratulations on that. And you won the title last year at Nathan's famous 4th of July hot dog eating contest. Took home the championship title last year, but this year you have some old competition returning, and that's Joey Chestnut. Will that be a big distraction for you?
Not a distraction, just a bigger hurdle to overcome. I don't know if I got it this year. I mean, I think I ate 58 last year, so he's coming back this year with something to prove. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
So you ate 58 hot dogs in how many minutes?
10 minutes last year.
And what's his record?
His record is 76, so I'm a little bit off the pace there.
You need to get a workout. You got to work out. You got to eye of the tiger, baby. Eye of the tiger.
Yeah, it's not impossible, but it's pretty close to that. We'll see. Never say never, right?
And why was he decommissioned for a year? Didn't he? Wasn't he the spokesperson for a vegan hot dog company?
Yeah,
I'm serious.
He had some,
or like fake meat.
Yeah, he had some contract disputes with the sponsor. I think it was Impossible Foods or something. But yeah, now he's free to compete this year.
Okay, so how do you prepare for this, and what's your training like days before?
It's just a lot of hot dog practices. So I've been eating a lot of them leading up, and that's about it. I do general like stomach volume stretching, so lots of food and liquid, pretty much. But I've been doing this for 20 years, so it's like it's pretty easy at this point. My body's used to it.
Well, how did this all start? Like, what made you want to become, a competitive eater?
It just started as overeating. I always love to eat. I love food. I went to culinary school, so food really has been my life. And then at some point I realized I was really good at eating a lot, and I don't know, it allowed me a lot of travel and opportunity, so I just kind of stuck with it, that's it.
Do you ever hurt your body, like get sick where you're, vomiting, you kind of almost can't stop, and you're like, I can't eat this crap anymore, I got to stay away for a day or two? And then also, and I'm not trying to get negative grocerying, but on the way out, I mean, dude, you Feel the Heat Jalapeno Eating Championship, dude, 275 freaking jalapenos in 8 minutes. I mean, did you have to go to the hospital after that? But this is wild. This is wild, bro.
I probably should have went to the hospital after that one. No, it wasn't that bad. I mean, they were pickled, so it was spicy. But in my earlier years, I definitely got sick more often. It doesn't quite happen so often these days, but I don't know. It's rest on the days in between. I don't usually eat like that all the time, so it's rest and balance, if that makes sense. I know it doesn't sound like legit, but that's kind of all it really is. I do get heartburn pretty bad, but that's about the only side effect I've had so far.
But you keep the food down after you eat it, right?
Yeah, for the most part. Sometimes it happens, depending on the food or the volume. I'll just say, like, the jalapenos is pretty rough.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, my God. Does it help to be overweight as a competitive eater?
It doesn't help per se, because there is a theory that the more fat you have on your stomach, it kind of restricts stomach expansion. So if you look at, like, the top 10 eaters, there aren't really a lot of big guys. There used to be the big guys, but the new generation of eaters is they take their health a lot more serious. So it doesn't really help.
Do you study, and I'm not sure, do you study your opponents like the football, the watch of the film? Do you study your opponents? And then also, if you're down, do you ever do psyops? Like when I'm losing at cards, I start throwing insults out to mess with people. Anything you can do to try to win the psyop war?
There is some psychological warfare, but I could start talking trash to Joey Chestnut, but I know better because it doesn't really. He's kind of got my number for a lot of these events, but a lot of the other eaters, I have gotten in their head. So yeah, there is a psychological component to it for sure.
Well, is there? I mean, if you can please disclose this, how much money do you get if you win first place at the Nathan's hot dog eating competition?
It's $10,000, so it's all right.
Oh, is that the best purse you've had, or is there?
The best purse out of my career, I think I won like $20,000 on a motorcycle. So
on a motorcycle, what?
You didn't eat the motorcycle.
No, I didn't eat that.
No, I know you didn't need a motorcycle, but what did you have to chow down during that competition?
I had to do, that was for Wing Bowl in Philly, like several years ago.
Okay.
But to be honest, like the only reason I still do this is because there is a lot of good opportunity, more for travel and experience. So, like, I got to go to Japan earlier this year for 2 weeks to eat for a television show. But I'm all about the experience and the travel. I mean, the money is okay. It's not like I still have a day job as a chef, so it's not like I don't know. It really is more just about the opportunity.
Where do you work? What restaurant?
It's a catering company on the north side called Food for Thought. So
nice.
I'm an event chef.
Thought. Okay.
Can we
do you want to?
reflect-
Oh, go ahead, Chris.
Can we reflect just on some of your records, just real quick? This is unbelievable. I want people to imagine this is insane. 10.63 pounds of corned beef and cabbage, 53.25 ounce pancakes, 9.17 pounds of blueberry pie, 1 pound of chocolate, key lime pie, 10.8 pounds of key lime pie. I'm hungry.
I'm not hungry at all. What's your favorite food, though, to compete with? Like, what's the easiest to get down?
I think it's probably the blueberries. I did 18.5 pounds last summer. That's a good record. It's probably my favorite.
Wow. And then why are you? Yeah, did you? Oh my God. Did you? Why are you called Patrick Deep Dish Bertoletti? How'd you get the deep dish?
Just Chicago upbringings. You know, for some reason they have to give every competitive eater a stupid nickname, and I just kind of took that one. So
that was yours. All right. Well, are you and Joey Chestnut friends? I mean, do you guys give each other the evil eye in competitions, or did you guys talk?
No, I've known him for about 20 years. He's like my older brother. You know, after winning last year, I like to talk a lot of trash to him, but you can't really, you can't trash talk to number one. I mean, he doesn't even take the bait. He's really good. He's a lot better than me, so it's kind of one-sided trash talking, but, you know, we have a good time with it. So.
Did he ever give you any tips?
Yeah, he's been very helpful. I actually was at his house a week ago training for this contest, so.
Is he in? Where's he? Is he Chicago too? No.
Yeah, he is Chicago.
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
No, he's Westfield, Indiana, but that's close enough.
Yeah. Well, okay. All right. What advice do you have for young kids who, you know, they're going to watch this competition and think, you know what, that's what I want to do because I love food and I could eat it quickly without choking. What advice do you have for them?
I would tell them not to watch the contest, and I would tell them not to do this, but hopefully they have parents that discourage them. But, you know, just the internet is your friend if you really want to pursue this. So just do some research and go from there. You know?
Would you allow your own son or daughter to compete like this?
I don't have any at the moment. I mean, I guess they could do whatever they want, but I would hope they didn't. But it's all right. You know, they could do whatever they want.
So after Nathan's this Friday, where are you going from there? What's on the schedule?
I think probably just a cleanse, really. I don't have any events planned after that.
Go on sabbatical.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I might do that.
Yeah.
I think I need to go on like a health retreat or go to like a sanitarium or whatever they used to do back in the day, you know?
Do you eat normally after this for like weeks and months? Like I'm done with this for a while. Do you go back to like a regular eating schedule?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I do really love food, so like being around it all the time is really difficult. It requires a lot of discipline because like you don't really gain weight from the food you eat in the contest. It's what you do away from the table, you know? If that makes sense. So I will at least try to go back to normal, but I'm sure there will be events that pop up. The eating season is like the summer, so I'm sure there's going to be events that pop up. So. What's
the game plan the night before? Do you load up on water to stretch your stomach, or how does it work?
Yeah, exactly. I won't eat much the day before, just simple carbs, and then I will drink a bunch of water before I go to bed, and then probably do the same thing in the morning, and then that's it.
You're just stretching your stomach out. That's what you're always stretching that thing out.
Yeah, the stomach is just a giant muscle that nobody was dumb enough to try to expand and stretch in years past, but now we kind of figured that part out, and
we've evolved.
I think my stomach can kind of hold a lot. I would say probably upwards of 25 to 27 pounds of food and liquid, so kind of disturbing.
And do you dip your hot dog in water? And because that's allowed, right?
Yeah, so you eat the hot dog itself first, like just plain, and then you dunk the hot dog buns in the water, and then that just kind of helps facilitate the consumption, and then it just goes on a lot easier. I mean, it is kind of repulsive, but...
Well, have you ever choked?
Oh, yeah.
I never have, but that is like, they always have EMTs there just in case. And thank God, I don't think I've ever actually even seen it be a problem, but, it's better to be safe than sorry, so.
Yeah. All right, Patrick, deep dish.
Thank you.
Bertoletti, Chicago's own.
Thank you guys for having me out today.
Yeah. Hey, good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
About the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Mike Lindell and MyPillow employees want to thank my listeners for all your continued support. Mike has a passion to help get everyone the best sleep of their life. He didn't stop by creating the best pillow. He created the best bed sheets ever. Mike is offering the best deal on his Percale bed sheets. You can get a set for as low as $24.98. The MyPillow Percale sheets are breathable and have a cool, crisp feel. They have deep pockets to fit over any mattress. They look and feel great, which means an even better night's sleep for me, which is crucial for my busy schedule. Also, for a limited time, when your order is over $100, you'll receive $100 in free digital gifts. Go to MyPillow.com now and use promo code LIBERTY to receive the MyPillow Percale sheets for as low as $24.98. Order now or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. That number again is 800-489-0201, promo code LIBERTY.
When it comes to affordable term life insurance, everyone's whistling the Big Lou tune. If you're over 50, maybe a bit porky, or have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost about $200 a month. Even if you're not in perfect health, call Big Lou, because he specializes in finding big chunks of affordable term life insurance for just about everyone. Don't let diabetes or other health glitches keep you from owning $500,000 to $1 million or more of term life insurance. For affordable term life insurance, call Big Lou. Don't hesitate. Call 800-700-6898, 800-700-6898, or visit biglou.com.
Call Big Lou, don't hesitate, 800-700-6898. Call Big Lou, don't hesitate, 800-700-6898. Visit biglou.com.
Your business is under attack 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's a fact. Small businesses are the low-hanging fruit. You may think you're protected, but you're vulnerable in many ways, and cyber attackers actively prey on small businesses. But Turnkey can protect you. Turnkey is the key to cyber protection. Turnkey has a quick and efficient 12-point evaluation to determine if your business, your profits, are at risk. And right now, for a limited time, Turnkey is offering the first month of service to all new customers free. Peace of mind, free. It includes all Microsoft licensing, antivirus, anti-malware, and completed data backup both on-site and off-site, plus help desk support. Don't leave you, your employees, and your customers vulnerable. Talk to Turnkey. Visit turnkey.pro. 3 decades of experience. That's turnkey.pro. Turnkey, the champion of small business.
For centuries, gold and silver have protected wealth through war, recession, inflation, and economic upheaval. And today, as markets remain volatile and uncertainty grows, gold and silver continue to serve as an essential building block for modern retirement portfolios, offering both stability and long-term potential. At Advantage Gold, we specialize in helping you move your IRA or eligible 401k into physical gold or silver, tax-free and penalty-free. When you call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000, you'll receive expert insights, real-time market analysis, and modern investment strategies. Everything you need to make informed decisions about your financial future. And right now, for a limited time, you could receive up to $10,000 in precious metals when you open your qualified gold IRA with Advantage Gold. So don't wait for the next market downturn. Take control of your retirement strategy today with the proven power of physical gold and silver. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000. Performance may vary. Consult with your financial and tax professionals before making investment decisions. Visit AdvantageGold.com or call 800-900-8000.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or Avastin Captid Pagel, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Business owners, now's the time for your business to make the move to a locally owned business bank. Hi, Mike Gallagher here to let you know that you don't have to look far. Signature Bank was founded in Chicago with a simple mission to help companies like yours grow, succeed, and thrive. Their decisions are made locally by a terrific team that knows your name, cares about your business, and invests in your success. That's why Signature Bank is my bank. I'm a customer. As business owners, they knew that local, family-owned businesses were not getting the help they needed or deserved. So I invite you to reach out to my friends at Signature Bank today. Write the number down. Remember this phone number, Signature Bank, 773-467-5630, and learn all about this great bank, 773-467-5630, or visit them online at signaturebank.bank. That's signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank makes commercial banking personal. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
AM 560, The Answer.
We're talking about the ice cream man and how he was chased down by CBS 2 employees during COVID. And somebody said, well, remember Lori Lightfoot when she tried to get some kids who were playing basketball to get back inside their house? Well, here that is.
Move on. Let's go. Let's go. You want to take this virus back to your house and get your mama sick? Let's move on. We can handle what we want. This.
Hey, all that overdoing, y'all let it defend the truth. You talk about go home, you go home.
It's hard to hear them because, of course, she has masks on. But she said, you want to bring this virus home to your mama? And he said, you want me to go home, you go home. So there that is.
She'd probably be okay if he was riding for St. George Floyd, blessed be his name.
Yeah. All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, today is July 1st, so several new laws take effect in Illinois. We'll begin there with Ted Drosski, but now let's head back into the newsroom. Here is John Cruz.
Thank you so much. Good morning. It's 73 degrees in Chicago and AM 560 The Answer. I'm John Cruz in the AlmostFreeTeeth.com newsroom. Mainly sun today, a high of 78. Around 9,000 Philadelphia city workers on strike this morning, walking out after failing to reach a new contract. They say the city's offer of a 7% raise over 3 years isn't enough. The AFSCME union, the largest city workers union in Philadelphia. New laws take effect today statewide, and here in Chicago, this means cigarettes will cost more, gas prices increase, and minimum wage in Chicago will go up, and Illinois hotels with 50 or more rooms will be prohibited from providing small single-use plastic bottles like shampoo or body wash. And Chicago police investigating anti-Semitic graffiti in Hyde Park over the last 10 days. In each incident, stickers with anti-Semitic phrases found in various spots from University Avenue through South 55th Street. Anyone with information asked to contact police. News is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Have you been getting high quotes for dental implants? With medical PPO insurance, it's possible to save 90% off on average. See if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Making smiles great again. We're checking traffic coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560, The Answer.
Larry Elder knows why we haven't heard much from the left.
Polling that shows most Americans support what President Trump is doing, which is to prevent Iran from getting a nuke. Now, the reason Democrats haven't said anything is because they do not want to give any support to President Trump. It doesn't matter what he does, what he says, they're just not going to do it.
The Larry Elder Show. Weeknights at 8, right before Sean Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
It's Reveille. Governor Pritzker announced his re-election bid. He's asking Illinoisans to sign up for 4 more years of expanding budgets and the tax increases to support them. He'll be pulling revenue, though, from a smaller, poorer pool of residents as the state continues to lose higher-income people. As WirePoint's latest report indicates, younger, productive folks are moving out of Illinois at a more rapid pace than any other state. What does that say about Governor Pritzker and his policies? Quite a lot, actually. He's been in charge with supermajority control of the legislature for 7 years. He's had more than enough time to rein in spending, reform government, and reduce regulation. But he has zero interest in doing so. In fact, he supports the opposite agenda and proved it with the policies he has signed into law. But demographics is destiny, and so the continued loss of population, especially the young and productive, is the biggest indictment of his tenure and proof of his failure as a governor. Republicans looking to take on Pritzker, though, can't stick to the 3 C's of crime, corruption, and cost of living. As they say, politics is downstream from culture, and a failure to connect with voters on cultural issues would be campaign malfeasance. The outrage from George Floyd's death has sparked months-long riots, the social contagion fueled by social media that expanded the transgender movement, and the woke indoctrination that schools and businesses adopted is all coming undone. The cultural shift and the backlash that brought down Bud Light, made Riley Gaines a household name, and elected Donald Trump again means electoral wins in the future, especially in states like Illinois, where people like Pritzker have taken the most extreme cultural positions. The 2026 campaign is beginning. Time for conservatives to stoke the revolt everywhere and always, and do so on the front lines of the cultural counter-revolution. I'm Jeannie Ives. Join me Sunday from 7 to 9 p.m. and sign up for my newsletter at breakthrough-ideas.com.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best.
Taking a look at your drive in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center with traffic, a service of Blindster.com. 16 minutes on the Edens inbound Lake Cook to Montrose. On the outbound Montrose to Lake Cook, a 14-minute ride. On the Kennedy inbound O'Hare to Burn Interchange, 49 minutes. That's a 30-minute delay. You're on and off the brakes inbound between Foster and Montrose Avenues. Kennedy outbound Burn Interchange to O'Hare, an hour and 5 minutes. You're solid outbound between Fullerton and Keeler Avenue. Eisenhower inbound between Jane Addams and Old Post Office, an 18-minute delay at 50 minutes. On the Eisenhower outbound Old Post Office to Jane Addams, a 46-minute ride. And on this Tuesday morning, Stevenson inbound 355 to Lakeshore, a 61 minutes. On the Stevenson outbound Lakeshore Drive to the Tri-State, 32 minutes. Dan Ryan inbound 95th to Burn Interchange, you are looking at 16 minutes. And on the Dan Ryan outbound Burn Interchange to 95th, under 15 minutes. I'm KT. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Now here's the latest forecast from QC Kinetics.
Today will be mostly sunny with lower humidity. Expect a high of 86. Tonight will be clear with a low of 69. Tomorrow, anticipate warm weather with more sun than clouds and a high of 89. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Goldilocks, offering smart security systems to homes and businesses. Call Goldilocks at 708-889-5600.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
If that's moving up, then I'm moving out.
Good Tuesday morning. That music means it's our weekly confab with Ted Drosski, president of WirePoints. Ted, it is July 1st, and if you live in Illinois, listen up. New laws take effect today. Chicago workers' minimum wage is going to go up. The city's minimum wage will be $16.60. And for subsidized youth employment programs, it will be $16.50.
But what affects more people, I think, is Illinois' drivers are going to expect a jump in gas prices starting today. Gas tax is going up to, are you ready? 48.3 cents per gallon today. So how is that a victory for Illinoisans, Ted?
Well, it's not. It's more costs, more money out of their pockets, and and it's not just that, right? If you want to do a little sports betting, those taxes are going up. You want to do a little smokes, those are going up. You want to rent Airbnb, they're going up. Not to mention all these other hundreds of millions in corporate taxes that eventually make it down to to people. So it's kind of a nasty day. It's a nasty day for Illinoisans.
But Trump spins it as if he's because he made his big announcement. The king has announced he is running for a third term. And in his pre-produced video, he said, I eliminated the grocery tax, which is a lie. It's now up to each municipality to decide whether or not to get rid of the grocery tax. How much is the grocery tax, by the way?
Well, in a place like Chicago, it's about $80 million. So it's pretty significant. And even in small towns, it's still significant. What was interesting about him taking away that tax was that, when he ended the grocery tax, that wasn't a state tax. It had nothing to do with his budget. He cut the budget of all the cities in all of Illinois. And then he passed a law to say that all those cities could then raise their own tax if they want that money back. So it was a pretty nasty cut that then he tried to take credit for. But we've seen hundreds of cities across the state already reimpose that grocery tax. And I bet Chicago will too. So therefore, he can't really say he cut the grocery tax.
Ted, this is Chris. So,
hey, Chris.
Hey, how are you, brother? So, Pritzker talks about if somebody's calling you out, that means you're scared. That's why Trump talks about him a lot. But you know what? Here's my question for you. Who needs who more? What would Pritzker do without Trump versus what would Trump do without Pritzker? It seems to me Pritzker needs Orange Man a lot more because that's all he seems to rail against. And Trump, he doesn't need him. He's got whatever he wants to do. He's doing fine.
Well, Pritzker's a cost to Trump, and Pritzker gets money from the federal government. So you're right. I mean, I think the dynamics are like you say they are. And the big problem for Pritzker is that, as Trump looks at these budget deficits and all this spending that we do at the federal level, right? We got 30-something, he's looking how to reform Medicaid, how to reform all different kinds of spending. And of course, Pritzker doesn't like that because Pritzker, wants all that money to fund his government. So it's an interesting relationship by any stretch.
Well, here's a new campaign ad that I want you to hear that he put out on X, saying he's reciting. This is so old. Trump's mean tweets about him.
Gov, you ready?
I'm ready.
And action.
All right, so we're reading some mean tweets by Donald Trump. I mean, how much time do we have? First one. Illinois is badly run with Pritzker. He's a real loser. Now, when he says badly run, does he mean 7 balanced budgets and 9 credit upgrades, raising the minimum wage and eliminating the state grocery tax? If so, I completely agree with him. Trump says, I'm, quote, so pathetic. I must be living rent-free in this guy's head. How does he come up with this stuff? Look, I can handle Donald Trump's name-calling. Honestly, he does that when he's afraid of you. I've never been scared to stand up to guys like him when they attack Illinois working families. Unless a change is made at the governor's level, Illinois can never be great again. Is this a good time to tell Donald Trump that I'm officially running for re-election as governor of Illinois?
All right, it's not a tweet, but I've got one more. Trump just said, quote, the governor is probably the worst in the country. Pritzker.
The best mean tweet response to Donald Trump is to join my team at jbpritzker.com.
I mean, Pritzker has made this entire brand out of himself to fight Trump and the MAGA threat. Remember, he called himself the happy warrior while telling the entire left to fight back, which means riot. And I don't understand. I mean, why would you point any of that out? Because I think it makes Governor Pritzker look bad. What do you think, Ted?
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know why the heck he's leveraging that because, I think that, well, there's a few things. First of all, Pritzker's been extremely nasty back to Trump. So it's not like it's a one-way thing. The names that Pritzker calls Trump is pretty amazing, right? Xenophobic, homophobic, whatever, all that whole line he has. So Pritzker's been very, very nasty, called him Nazi. That's one. But I think the reality is when he brings up Trump's tweets, Trump is right. I mean, when you think about the worst run state in the country, we've got the highest property taxes, the second highest gas taxes. the third highest outmigration of people, the lowest credit rating. Chicago's the murder capital of the country. I could go on. We have fleeing blue chip companies, Citadel, Boeing, Caterpillar. I mean, Pritzker has a horrific record, and Trump is right. So, I think Pritzker trying to use those ads kind of backfires against him.
And then, Ted, you're mentioning all the issues, all the bad stuff happening under Pritzker. Was it the 18 and up population is fleeing us? We lose like 6.something% of young folk? Yeah, that was the worst in the country. We wrote about that recently. We went through the numbers, and there it was sitting there like a sore thumb. When you look at the 18 and younger population, we had the biggest drop in the country, the worst. And not only that, when you look at the working age population, which is the 19 to 64, we were the sixth worst in losses. So we're losing our working population, we're losing our youth, and then the other big number was that the elderly was going up. So we're going to have more people who are dependent, right, who pay less in taxes because they're not working anymore. And wow, that's the state that Governor Pritzker's built. And he's had a good 6.5 years to do it. It's his record.
Now, I know that he just announced that he's seeking a third term and traveled the state a 2-day, going from Chicago down south and east and west. But I think we've discussed here on this program before, his real ambition is to be the Democratic president of the United States. And where does he fall? Because you did a June poll. Now it's July 1st, but you did a poll last month. And where does he sit?
Yes, we didn't do the poll, but we just reported on it. It's fascinating. It's okay. He sits way, way down at the bottom. When he was running for, when he was looking to be a prospective vice presidential nominee, he got a 2% support across all the polls back then. Well, in that year, he spent a lot of effort and time. He was the DNC host, right? The Chicago host of the DNC, and he was the leader. He's done a lot of the campaigns, abortion campaigns in Ohio, Wisconsin. He's done his big speech in New Hampshire, which is basically his presidential speech. And in the poll, he still ended up at 2%. The leader was Pete Buttigieg with 16%. Wow. So Pritzker's not getting traction. What's interesting is that Rahm Emanuel's in that poll at 1%. So the two guys from Illinois who want to run, for president so far, at least in the Democratic primary, are not doing very well.
So it goes Pete Buttigieg, Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsom. That's got to make Pritzker mad. AOC, Josh Shapiro, Bernie Sanders, Cory Booker. These names are old. I'm sick of them. I mean, I just don't think they stand a chance, do you, to beat a Republican candidate?
Well, I sure hope you're right, because I think they've got all the wrong policies. And, the thing we wrote about Pritzker is that, he's taken Illinois so far left. And you can see to try to win the primary at the presidential level, he's going even further left. And what that means for Illinoisans is that while Pritzker, while he's trying to run for governor or wants to be governor, and he's running for the president, he's going to be more focused on the presidential campaign and going left. That he'll never do any of the kind of reforms that Illinois needs, because he can't afford to be tough on crime, because that'll put him more to the center. He can't afford to lower taxes or take on the unions, because that'll put him to the center. He certainly can't afford to do school choice, because that'll put him to the right. So he's not going to do anything for Illinoisans while he's running for president. So it's going to be a real conflict for him.
Ted, is he delusional? I mean, does he realize that he's not going to win?
He's got an ego.
He's got an ego. He's got several $1 billion, so he can self-fund his campaign. And he's been governor twice, so he might be confident that he has a shot. I just think that his policies, and I think this whole, Mamdani is a big deal in New York, and I don't think that Pritzker's policies are that different from Johnson's policies, Brandon Johnson or Mamdani's. They're all the same, pretty far left policies. Pritzker just behaves differently. He carries himself differently. He's a more professional and all that. But in the end, he's got the exact same policies that are taking our big cities to the extremes.
And then what does this say? I'm reading about that I'm no longer allowed to have little shampoo bottles He's regulating my
what is that
shampoo
all about?
bottles. And by the way, it says here, the law says the hotel may provide personal care products in small, single-use plastic bottles to a person at no cost upon request at a location other than the guest room. This man is micromanaging a freaking shampoo bottle.
See, and that's just fascinating. I think Mamdani said something about more government control of of means of production. This is like the ultimate government deciding everything. When they start deciding how many little bottles of shampoo a hotel can have, that means we've gone to such extremes. You've got to let businesses thrive, and they can only do that if they're not regulated and controlled in that kind of way. So we see where the extremes are taking us.
Now, I used to, one of my 4 jobs, I used to run an Airbnb. And of course, lobbyists called me and said, call your alderman right now and tell him, you don't want further restrictions on what you can and can't do with your property. What new law is taking effect today in regards to Airbnb?
Well, more taxes. I mean, they're going to increase taxes on Airbnb. It's just another one of the ways they're trying to raise money. It's a record budget, $55 billion. There's been no slowdown under Pritzker. When his first budget was at $39 billion. Now it's $55 billion. So you're talking about $16 billion more, and that's why he's having to resort to all these kind of things, because he needs money to fund all his stuff, and he's going to grab any tax he can get. And now they're even talking about that kind of per mile tax when you drive, stuff like that. And that's it's crazy talk, but that's what we have to fight back.
The mileage tax. Can you believe that, Chris? I know you live in Texas, but they'll log. You pay taxes on every mile you drive in your car.
Wait a minute.
On top of already paying tolls, they're not going to get rid of the tollway system.
And that'd be a big deal in Texas, right? Because in Texas, that's a big state, so you put on a lot of miles.
You know what else, though, guys? The electric vehicles weigh 2, 3, 4 times of our cars, and then number 2, they hurt the roads and destroy the roads more, and they don't pay a gas tax. So is he penalizing them too, or just us?
Well, that's why he's doing it.
That would be the mileage tax, yeah.
Okay, so that's what he's doing.
Okay. Less people. Yeah, the more people
charging,
drive electric vehicles, then he needs to get revenue somehow, some way.
But is he charging you and me the mileage tax as well?
Yeah.
So we're paying. So we pay double than they do.
And that's what's amazing about this whole thing is we already paid the second highest gas taxes right in the country, and now we're still looking for more money. So, hey, Amy, can I describe something positive?
Oh, we love positive news.
Oh man, I love this. So I think it was last week. Last week we talked about in Effingham. Pritzker. Here's another. Pritzker says he wants to lower property taxes, but last year he signed a bill that allows school districts to borrow money, like $60 million, without a referendum. So basically bypassing the voters. And so in Effingham, the school district there was going to try to use that law, and they announced they're going to issue the bonds, and they were hoping that the people wouldn't push back. And what was beautiful there is that the people got together, and in 30 days they signed a massive number of petitions to stop the bond issue from happening. And yesterday in the school board meeting, the school board announced that they were rescinding the bond issue, so they're not going to do it because they found too many people opposed it. And this is one of those great signs where in very few days you saw citizens come together and say, no, we've had enough of these property taxes. $60 million debt for more school buildings would have been big property taxes for the people of Effingham, and they said no. And what's really cool about it is it's just ordinary people got together and said no, and they rallied, and they had places where you could sign the petitions and all that, and boom, they stopped this thing. And so congrats that there's a whole team out there, but Shannon McClurg and Susan Petty and a whole bunch of other people got together and won, and it's a good sign that you can actually stand up to the bullies.
Ted, I think I saw this through Wirepoints. Fremont Battery Company allegedly brought in unlicensed Chinese lawyer, and they called U.S. workers foreigners. The employees are suing them, and they're also saying they're bringing in Chinese illegals, not only Chinese lawyers who aren't allowed to practice law in our country, let alone Illinois, but second of all, they're bringing in like Chinese illegals and replacing them, so they're suing. So is this what Pritzker brings in? Like the Chi-Coms come in, they discriminate against us, they don't follow the law, and it's all about looking like they're doing something in America, but it's just them having a Chinese factory in Illinois.
Well, yeah, I don't know the specifics of Fremont, but I do know, we got this big Goshen plant, which is a Chinese EV battery maker, and we've given them over $500 million. They are a known, connected company to the CCP. It's one of those things where you wonder, is that the only deal we could get? Can Pritzker not bring in good old-fashioned American companies or European companies? We had to bring in the Chinese company because that's all we can get. It's
sickening.
Yeah, and this company is also eligible for billions in federal aid, and it makes no sense. And we shouldn't be taxing all of our. Just think about it, to give hundreds of millions to a Chinese company, we had to tax a whole bunch of small companies in Illinois, take their money, and then hand it over to Goshen. That's Chinese. Not fair to all these companies.
Weren't there some residents fighting back though with the construction of that plant?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's still going. The fight's still going. They stopped the same thing happening in Michigan. Yes. There's a great movement in Michigan to stop it. They're trying to do the same thing here, and they're having some success. They're a little bit further along here in Illinois, so we have to keep battling there.
If you go to wirepoints.org, there's also a story on here about the Cook County program to waive traffic fees for low-income residents. So basically, if they get a ticket or a red light ticket or I don't know, is it even a parking ticket, that Cook County will waive their fee if they show that they're experiencing financial hardship?
Yeah,
so they don't have to follow the rules because they're poor. You don't have to follow the rule doesn't apply to you because you're poor or low income.
Right, and then you can just keep doing it anyway, right? And it removes accountability. It's kind of like the whole broken windows theory, right? Once you let little things start happening, then anything goes, and that's the problem we're in Chicago.
It's like Zorhan with his, I want to tax white neighborhoods more. And in this case, I want to let people that are have less income or whatever break the rules.
Yeah, but who decides what low income means?
Right.
If the median household is 60,000 or what is it?
Right. And since when was breaking rules a progressive or regressive thing, right? It's like rules are rules, and we all want to follow them. And when you let somebody start breaking them, then the hell breaks loose.
Well, look at Mayor Johnson. I mean, he had an unpaid water bill to the tune of $3,000. And I heard that happened because he wasn't living in the house. He was living in Elgin, but he had to have some property in Chicago. Didn't pay that, and then also didn't pay about $1,000 worth of parking fines. Wow. Stacey Davis Gates, the same thing. They just think that the rules don't apply to them. It's fascinating. All right, Ted Drosski, president of wirepoints.org. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll
thank you guys.
See you next week. Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer. Enjoy uninterrupted programming from Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson around the clock, all day, every day, including daily replays of Chicago's Morning Answer on Dan and Amy 24/7. Listen now at danandamy247.com. Gain insight into building strong marriages and raising godly children with Focus on the Family with Jim Daly each weekday at 11:30 a.m. on our sister station, AM 1160. Hope for your life.
Honey, we're not moving, but we gotta do something about this kitchen.
Funny you mention it. I just stopped by Forever Remodeling's new showroom in Niles. I saw over a dozen kitchen and bathroom layouts they designed. They even offered to stop by the house and give us a free in-home design consultation.
What'd you tell them?
That we're free today?
Visit foreverremodeling.com today. That's the number 4, everremodeling.com. Forever Remodeling, stress-free and high-quality remodeling.
All right, listeners are always asking me about QC Kinetic treatments. They want to know if they should consider it for their own joint pain. And if you're wondering if you're a good candidate, let me just ask you a few questions. If you answer yes to any of these questions, is your quality of life impacted by chronic pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or other joints? Trouble sleeping, walking, doing day-to-day movement, like getting in and out of your car, something that seems so simple, but if you're in chronic pain, ouch, it hurts. Do you want to avoid surgery and all the pain, long recovery, taking vacation time, and most importantly, the uncertainty that comes with it? Because I know a lot of people who got knee replacements and they're still in pain. So before you go under the knife, please call our good friends at QC Kinetics. They'll walk you through the process, show you how it works. They'll let you know whether or not you're a good candidate for QC Kinetics. Here's what you do. Call this number, Again, the consultation is free. Weekday appointments, Saturday appointments available. They have offices located all over the Chicagoland area, and they'll tell you how regenerative medicine works and can give you lasting pain relief with no drugs, no surgery, no downtime. The number to call is 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. Again, 312-809-5955.
This special alert is for all Americans who own a vehicle. If you have a warranty that's about to expire or no warranty coverage at all, this message is for you. It's time to stop worrying about future car repairs today. Your vehicle is essential, but unexpected breakdowns can derail your plans and your wallet. It's time to future-proof your ride with CarShield. CarShield offers a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that saves drivers thousands from out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Imagine if your engine quits or your transmission fails. You could pay a fraction of the repair cost. This protection plan is at an all-time low, and to give you even more peace of mind, drivers who activate today also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Don't wait for a breakdown to drain your savings. Future-proof your car with CarShield today and drive with confidence. Call CarShield for your free quick quote. Call 800-894-9190. That's 800-894-9190. What do you have to lose? Call 800-894-9190. That's 800-894-9190. Again, 800-894-9190.
Hey, Amy Jacobson here, and OMG, I was absolutely speechless when I saw my new garage floor. Level 10 Coatings did such an amazing job, and now my garage floor shines. Level 10 Coatings specializes in expert garage floor coatings for both residential and commercial spaces. Their floors are durable, easy to maintain, and best of all, done in just one day. Hey, if you've been thinking about upgrading your garage floor with that shiny new showroom look, please call my good friends at Level 10 Coatings at 855-510-2628 or book your free consultation online at level10coatings.com. And here's a bonus. Mention me, Amy Jacobson, and you'll get $500 off your project. Call 855-510-2628 or visit level10coatings.com today, or call 855-510-2628.
Big or small, we coat them all. Level 10 Coatings, your custom concrete coating solution.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, President Trump on his way to Alligator Alcatraz, and he spoke with reporters outside the White House.
It's the idea that if some illegal immigrants escape, they just get eaten by an alligator or a snake or something? I guess that's the concept. This is not a nice business. I guess that's the concept. If snakes are fast, but alligators are, but we're going to teach them how to run away from an alligator, okay? If they escape prison, how to run away. Don't run in a straight line. Run like this. And you know what? Your chances go up about 1%. Okay? Not a good thing.
Because Trump is on his way to your alligator Alcatraz in Florida. That's where they want to house 5,000 criminal illegals, house them there before they deport them back to their countries. It is now 8 a.m. WIND, Chicago.
24 hours and counting. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. The Senate has been debating and voting since yesterday morning on dozens of amendments to the Republicans' tax and spending bill.
I think we're doing well. We're going to have to see. It's very complicated stuff.
President Trump says he thinks it'll pass in the end by or somewhere around their Friday, July 4th deadline. But Republicans right now do not have the votes, apparently, to get it through the Senate. They need 50. An amendment to the Senate version, though, has passed 99-1.
The One Big Beautiful Bill Act will no longer prevent individual states from regulating AI for 10 years. House members like Marjorie Taylor Greene had threatened to vote no on the bill if the Senate kept the moratorium in the bill. Supporters had argued because AI technology is rapidly evolving, having states hyper-regulate it could have national security implications.
That's Fox's Ryan Schmelz. President Trump is on his way to Florida to see a new immigration detention facility nicknamed Alligator Alcatraz.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says the detention facility is surrounded by dangerous wildlife and unforgiving terrain.
This is an efficient and low-cost way to help carry out the largest mass deportation campaign in American history.
Protesters have lined the highway leading to the site, and environmental groups are suing the Department of Homeland Security, arguing the detention facility will disrupt the Everglades Everglades ecosystem. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Quadruple murder suspect Brian Koberger is expected to plead guilty in Idaho.
He is now reportedly scheduled to appear in court tomorrow, where he's expected to plead guilty to the heinous cold-blooded murders of 4 University of Idaho students. The guilty plea will allow Koberger to avoid the death sentence and accept life in prison.
Fox's Matt Finn. The deal is opposed by the family of at least 2 of the students stabbed to death in 2022. Former House Democrat and pro football player Colin Allred says he'll run for Senate in Texas again next year. He lost to incumbent Republican Ted Cruz last year. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning, 75 degrees in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm John Cruz in the Quick Delivery Newsroom. Sunny for this first day of July, a high around 78 today. Chicago firefighters battling a house fire overnight into this morning on the city's northwest side. That fire broke out just after 11 o'clock on the 5400 block of West Windsor Avenue. The fire burning through the home next door as well. Now, some neighbors reporting hearing what they described as a small explosion. No major injuries reported. A vigil last night to remember the 4 people killed in a massive apartment fire on Thursday on the city's northwest side. A 5-year-old boy still in critical condition, and several people are homeless. As police continue looking for an arsonist who set the fire, and now a $5,000 reward being offered for information. Some neighbors reported hearing gunshots before that fire. No arrests have been made. A hearing set for 9:30 this morning to talk about a recent ICE operation in the South Loop. On June 4th, several people reported getting texts to check in for their immigration cases and later detained. Now, Chicago police called to the scene, but the department says they were not aware of any ICE activity and did not help with any arrests. Mayor Johnson attending the second of 4 roundtables last night meant to engage the public ahead of what could be a contentious Chicago budget fight. The city projecting a deficit of $1.2 billion. That might grow if there are cuts in federal dollars. A balanced budget must be passed by the end of the year. And several new laws starting today. Chicago's new minimum wage increases. This year, the wage goes up to $16.60 for employers with 4 or more employees, while the tipped minimum wage will rise to $12.62 per hour. Taxes on vapes, nicotine pouches, cigars, and other tobacco products go to 45%. And sports betting online will charge 25 or 50 cents on every bet made in the state. News is a service of Quick Delivery Service. Make Quick Delivery Service your personal ground crew anytime, anywhere, anyplace. When you need to move your shipment or freight, Quick Delivery will get it there. Get a quote in advance and eliminate any surprises at quickdelivery.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes, but now time for the AM 560 Business Beat, sponsored by Signature Bank.
I'm Liz Clayman, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Goldman Sachs shares are up another 0.5% this morning. The stock rose to a record yesterday. MarketWatch says Goldman is seen as the big winner of the Federal Reserve's stress tests. Research firm Cox Automotive believes U.S. auto sales in the spring quarter rose with demand holding up. Cox sees new vehicle sales volume up about 1.7%. Tesla shares are down 4%. Tesla's sales dropped for a 6th straight month in Sweden and Denmark in June. Norway was a bright spot. Sales rose 54%, helped by sales of its updated Model Y. Stock futures are losing ground as the marathon session to pass President Trump's tax and spending package continues. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosolda. Invested in you.
Make sure that you never miss a day of Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson when you subscribe to the Chicago's Morning Answer podcast, presented by Signature Bank. Listen to the entire show each day on demand with limited commercial breaks. You can subscribe today for free at 560theanswer.com and click on podcasts or search for Chicago's Morning Answer on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Michaela's Mobile Spa, Michaela! Michaela got a quick business insurance quote from Progressive and chose from over 30 customizable coverages. Sure, it helps she's her only employee and does literally everything, but while others would rest on their laurels, Michaela was hard at work saving big. So take that, hypothetical other employee who doesn't exist. Be your own Michaela. See if you could save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage is not available in all states or for all vehicles and coverage selections.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Taking a look at your drive in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center with traffic, a service of Woodland Windows. A 15-minute ride on the Edens inbound Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound Montrose to Lake Cook, 19 minutes. On the inbound Kennedy O'Hare to the Byrne Interchange, 53 minutes. With you on and off the brakes inbound between Foster and Montrose Avenues. Kennedy outbound Byrne Interchange to O'Hare, 58 minutes. On the Eisenhower inbound Jane Addams to the Old Post Office, 65 minutes. Eisenhower outbound Old Post Office to Jane Addams, 50 minutes. With this, there is a crash on the outbound Eisenhower off-ramp to Higgins Road. Now on the Stevenson inbound from 355 to Lake Shore, 78 minutes. There's a medical emergency on the Stevenson inbound Central, right at Central, and it's on your right shoulder. Add this, there's a crash that has your Stevenson inbound exit at California Avenue closed. On the Stevenson outbound, Lake Shore Drive to the Tri-State, 33 minutes. Dan Ryan inbound, 95th at Byrne Interchange, 24 minutes, and an 11-minute drive on the outbound Dan Ryan Byrne Interchange to 95th. I'm KT. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Now here's the latest forecast from QC Kinetics.
Today will be mostly sunny and less humid with a high of 86. Tonight, expect clear skies with a low of 69. Tomorrow will be warm with more sun than clouds, reaching a high of 89. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by The Real Story with Jeannie Ives, powered by Breakthrough Ideas. Sunday evening at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Amy Jacobson here. Chris Crock in for Dan Proft today and tomorrow and on Thursday. So thanks for filling in.
You're welcome.
Are you having a good time so far? Informational and humorous?
Always have a good time with you on this great station in my hometown. Always.
Yes. So Independence Day, commonly known as the 4th of July, a federal holiday coming up on Friday. How do you normally celebrate the day, Chris?
It depends.
Fireworks with the family? What do you do?
Yes, fireworks. You know, when they were younger, I have a buddy who has a massive piece of land in the outskirts of the Metroplex here in Dallas-Fort Worth, and he would get like 5 or 6 or 7 pallets worth of fireworks. I'm talking his. It's kind of a far-flung suburb now, if you will, but I'm not kidding you about this. His fireworks are literally bigger than the cities. You can see the cities over the horizon. It's a small city, exurb. Anyways, that was incredible going every year. He hasn't done that in a little while, but we would do that together as a family. Blowing off fireworks is great. I mean, I just can't believe, by the way, that Illinois cannot get your own fireworks. What an embarrassment. You light snakes. Oh, boy.
Yeah, right? Sparklers.
Yeah. Whoa.
They control everything we do in Illinois, so they control that as well.
Yes.
But 4th of July, it's a ratification, of course, of the Declaration of Independence, and It's a big deal. I mean, if I appreciate so much being an American living in this great country, and I feel as if a lot of people don't appreciate it. The people that are here illegally, that throw trash on the ground in Chicago and just leave it there, that sit on every street corner and beg for money, even though they have a phone in their hands that we paid for, they have clothes on their back that we paid for, and it's just a big hustle. And I just want them to appreciate, like, you know, what Arnold Schwarzenegger said on The View. He said this country, because they tried to get him, you know, with the King's protests in L.A. about, you know, ICE raids, and they tried to get him, I gotcha. And he said, this country has been so good to me. I came here with no money, and I became a bodybuilder. I became an actor. I became the governor of California. And the only place in the world that you could do this is in America.
We did a homeschool curriculum for my kids, and it's a Christian-based homeschool program, and it was in-depth, and it does the Charlotte Mason approach, which is living books. And my wife did all this research and stuff. And anyways, I was reading to my son. I learned more than I ever learned in public school about this country, about our history. I remember looking at my son, third, fourth grade, reading about his U.S. history. I said, can you believe this? I got goosebumps. I said, can you believe this? This country was never supposed to happen. This was never going to happen without the sovereign hand of God. There's no way this was going to happen. It was so ridiculous. Such a long shot.
Good. Well, with more on this on how to inspire America's youth to become more informed and engaged citizens is Dennis Levitt. He's Chief Executive Officer with United We Pledge. Good morning, Dennis. How are you?
Very good. Thank you. Good morning to both of you.
Yes, thank you so much. So for those who aren't familiar with United We Pledge, what exactly does your organization do?
We're all about educating youth. I love listening to the two of you talk about the challenges that exist. There are solutions, and I think the solutions that are best are those if we can implant them deep in the hearts of the rising generation, right? We've got to have a group of young people who are passionate and interested, who are engaged and feel like they can continue to carry the torch of liberty on, that they can make a difference in this world. So United We Pledge is about educating youth primarily, inspiring them, helping them love this nation. And we use patriotic holidays like Independence Day that's coming up as a platform for lots of events focused on youth and teaching them and their families about the ideals you're talking about.
Yeah, you want to start, with the charters of freedom like the Declaration of Independence, the U.S. Constitution. But when kids are so hooked on playing, video games and are stuck on their phones, how do you get them to care about our country?
We actually run some school programs where we live. We decided that we can make a difference where we live, that if, there's this adage of just lift where you stand. We've taken that to heart, and the idea is in our little community, we approached school leaders, government leaders, and officials and said, we have some supplemental curriculum and supplemental event ideas that we'd like to help the teachers in schools and homeschoolers, private schools. So we offer this curriculum and activity-based experiences in civics and history that we take out to the schools, to children, and to families in our community. And so far, the success has been ridiculously cool to watch and to see the impact that it's making.
Yeah, because many schools struggle to effectively teach American history and civics due to limited resources and support. So do you go into public schools that are struggling?
Yes, we do. Yeah, we partner with, local businesses who are willing to sponsor and help. Teachers are overworked and underpaid often. And so we say we'll go out and we'll knock doors and raise the funds as a nonprofit. That's part of the responsibility we feel. And then we've created this beautiful curriculum that is in line with core standards in the state, but supplemental in its focus and really engaging in the Declaration, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights specifically, but in just this idea of civics. As technology, evolves and the world moves at a hastened pace, we've got to have a moral and a strong and a great group of citizens and leaders in order to manage all of the pressures that are out there and in order to preserve this democratic republic that we all enjoy.
Dennis, Chris Kroc here. Who makes the curriculum for the educational materials you guys produce?
We do internally. We have a group of we have an education director who oversees that work. We collaborate with what we think are great constitutional experts from around the U.S. We're also talking about 5th and 8th graders, specifically that we're really working towards, and so some gifted teachers and people who can communicate on that level. So we have, what we would call an advisory board who helps, but we work alongside, like I said, school boards and other things to just ensure that the messaging is really solid and that the schools will allow us to bring it in because it matches the core standards of our state.
And now,
in addition, sorry, Amy.
No. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, in addition to this curriculum, we also take actors and actresses into the school, so that they go in as Jefferson and Adams, and we take a full school day assembly for our 5th graders and 8th graders and help them appreciate and let American history come to life. We also have a mobile exhibit. We worked with some sponsoring partners. We've taken a school bus, transformed it with TVs and iPads, and it's a cool exhibit that we take youth through and help them appreciate those charter documents. And then we have an awards program. It's really, in some ways, that simple, right? We give them a variety of things that they work on during the school year at home with their families, ideally, and then they can reach bronze, silver, or gold level, and then we shower them with certificates and medals and awards and pizza parties and T-shirts and really encourage and motivate them to go the extra mile in learning about how to become a good citizen.
Now, in the first year of Give Me Liberty, how many students have you helped gain a deeper understanding of American history and civics?
Over 3,500 this year, and will expand significantly next year. So we're excited about it. I wish you could see these kids. I wish you could talk to them and have conversations. They're more articulate. They're really starting to get it. It's fun to watch the transformation of these kids as we really intentionally focus on American history and civics with them.
Dennis, one of the other things I like here in just reading about your program, your curriculum, you say, although our nation's leaders and history are not perfect, we recognize the U.S. has become the greatest nation on earth, which is so true. So it's a myth that conservative folk like myself, are shy away from the truth, whether it be about slavery and such. I remember in the curriculum for our homeschool seeing the picture that I don't think I've seen before of the back of a man who was whipped as a slave and those massive lash scars on his back. And my son saw that. It was very important for him to see that and to know that. You guys don't shy away from that.
No. Knowledge is power, right? We can't shy away from truth. We can't spin, the truth to have some narrative that's not accurate. But we're only going to help youth if they understand the good, the bad, and the ugly. This is a nation that was created under the hand of God. It was created as a more perfect union, not a completely perfect union, but the goal is to continue to make it more and more perfect as we go, learning from the lessons of history, not abandoning the truth of this nation's story.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes history can be ugly, and it is ugly, and sometimes it's violent, but you have to learn from it and not hide certain things. I remember when we were growing up, they didn't tell us about the Japanese internment camps during World War II.
Wow.
They completely skipped that because that made America look bad. Was there anything, Chris, that they skipped for you that you recall?
All right. I'm going to be honest, man. All I did was clown around. I somehow I passed. And I mean, I remember. This is what's interesting. You guys have American Village, which you're building in St. George, Utah. My wife, her family used to live there, her grandparents and such. So I've been there. It's beautiful. And this reminded me of something. When I was younger, growing up in Illinois, we went to Springfield, and they have the village. They recreated a village like Abraham Lincoln. That I'll never forget that. That was exactly
impactful.
Yes, and I love that. Yeah.
So how far along in the process are you of, and I don't know if you're calling it Liberty Village or American Village, because they have one also in Alabama, correct?
Yeah, so we were inspired actually by the American Village in Alabama. Here in Utah, the name of the place is the Liberty Village. It's actually in Hurricane, Utah, Washington County. We love it. It opens phase 1 on September 13th. We're excited about that. We've been working hard now for a couple of years. Some of your listeners, I hope, may have even heard the name Liberty Village in the past, but we're right on the threshold of opening phase 1. We're excited about it. And exactly what you're describing, Chris, it's this place where you can come and be immersed in the story and have it feel real and authentic. But it's a place for teaching specifically for youth and families, visitors and guests. Yeah, we're excited about the Liberty Village.
And you have actors walking around, correct, to interact with the people who visit?
Yeah, that's right. It's stepping back into the 18th century. It's a chance to, again, have conversations with those folks who are the fabric of the American story, and we want to have people be able to engage with and talk with, and we want them to stay in character so it really feels like and is a part of the experience of having those kind of conversations and dialogue. We do one thing magical that we think is very important because there's this kind of barrier. If I'm Jefferson, I can't talk about the internet with you, right? I don't. He didn't get it. He wouldn't have any way to have that.
He didn't have a cell phone.
He didn't know what a QR code was.
He didn't have a laptop or iPad.
There you go.
QR code.
So
hate QR codes. Oh, that's great. When I remember because
with every reenactor, we have a modern guide. And we try and use as youthful a guides as possible. You know, I love gray hairs. I am one of the gray hairs, but I want young people to also have a passion for this nation. So we put a modern youth guide next to every reenactor so that there can be dialogue back and forth that's applicable to our day, right? What's the lessons we learned from Jefferson? What do we glean from him? What do we improve upon? And we have to have a youth guide who breaks that barrier because Jefferson's not going to break out of the 18th century at Liberty Village.
That's great. And I remember, I cannot remember his name, but the gentleman who ran from American Village to where Liberty Village is going to be in Utah, he did 76 marathons back to back, correct? He got to raise money.
His name's Tom Jones. Yeah, Tom Jones did that. And he started on Patriots Day, April 19th, and ended on July 4th. So 76 consecutive marathons across the U.S. And that was for us to raise awareness about Liberty Village and to start the fundraising process and just to say, we're going to take something that we were inspired by, we're going to move it forward and continue to build upon good things in America.
Liberty Village is in St. George, Utah, which is on the way to Zion National Park. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. This is when my wife and kids and I were driving, and they're like, don't, if you go this way, you're going to pay a $15 or whatever. And then everybody goes there anyways by accident, and then you go through Mount Zion. So that's kind of by where Mount Zion entrance, which is a beautiful, unbelievable natural park or U.S. park that's like you're on Mars almost, right?
Yeah, we live in National Park region in the West. It's beautiful red rock country. Doesn't look a thing like the Eastern Seaboard in some ways.
No.
But the story of America is varied, so we don't have to have necessarily Eastern Seaboard looks in order to focus on American history. Zion National Park attracts millions of visitors every year. Our county has 6.5 million visitors. We want to tell that story to them. So we think this is a great destination spot for the American story and will inspire a lot of people.
Yeah, you can go learn about our great history and then go hike in Zion. It's a perfect idea. I know that you always need help, donations to, have kids gain a deeper understanding of civics and all of that. And how can people help? Where can they go?
Of course, we're a 501c3. Our website is, we have two 501c3s. UnitedWePledge.org, that's our school outreach program that we're taking this message to schools. And then LibertyVillage.org, that's this destination where visitors and guests can come and be immersed more in American history. We'd love folks to donate. Of course, anything that you donate is so helpful to helping these kids gain the deeper understanding you're talking about.
Well, we appreciate the great work that you do, and thank you so much for your time, Dennis Levitt, Chief Executive Officer with United We Pledge. Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thanks. Happy 4th of July. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, I'm Steve Wyatt, and I want to invite you to the Wyatt Matters show, which airs every Sunday on this station. You can expect lively discussion and heartfelt reflection that will both entertain and inspire you. And if we do it right, maybe deliver some genuine laughter as well. We talk about not only what matters, but also why it matters.
Wyatt Matters. Sunday morning at 6 on AM 560. The Answer.
Honey, we're not moving, but we gotta do something about this kitchen.
Funny you mention it. I just stopped by Forever Remodeling's new showroom in Niles. I saw over a dozen kitchen and bathroom layouts they designed. They even offered to stop by the house and give us a free in-home design consultation.
What'd you tell them?
That we're free today?
Visit foreverremodeling.com today. That's the number 4, everremodeling.com. Forever Remodeling, stress-free and high-quality remodeling.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-894-9190 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-894-9190. That's 800-894-9190. What do you have to lose? Call 800-894-9190. Again, 800-894-9190.
AM 560. The Answer.
All right, the tax and spend bill, Friday, July 4th deadline. There's one amendment that was made. States cannot regulate AI for 10 years. That was something Marjorie Taylor Greene was very adamant on because she wanted the states to regulate AI. They said that that's a safety issue. And now we have Elon Musk back in the news because he put on social media that he's vowing to unseat any Republican who backs Trump's tax and spend bill. And President Trump responded.
You know, he's upset that he's losing his EV mandate, and he's very upset about things, but, you know, he could lose a lot more than that. I can tell you right now. Hey, Elon can lose a lot more than that. We might have to put Doge on Elon. You know what Doge is? Doge is the monster that might have to go back and eat Elon. Wouldn't that be terrible? He gets a lot of subsidies, Peter. But Elon's very upset that the EV mandate is going to be terminated. And you know what? When you look at it, not everybody wants an electric car. I don't want an electric car. I want to have maybe gasoline, maybe electric, maybe a hybrid, maybe someday a hydrogen. If you have a hydrogen car, it has one problem. It blows up, you know? So I'm going to give that one to Peter. I'm going to let Peter test it out.
Yeah, Peter Ducey is trying to be funny. But his message to Republicans on the one big, beautiful bill.
The Republicans have their heart in it. The Democrats they just want to destroy a country. A Democrat wants to destroy the country. They won't vote on it. They don't vote on anything. This is the biggest tax cut in history. Everything is the biggest in history. It's the best bill we've ever had. We can't get one Democrat vote.
When do you think you'll get final? When do you think you'll get final?
Nice guy, Peter. What do you think?
Very nice guy. When do you think we'll get final passage of the bill?
Hopefully soon. Hopefully today.
And we'll let you know if anything transpires during our show. Now let's head into the newsroom. Here is John Cruz.
Thank you. Good morning. 75 degrees in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm John Cruz in the almostfreeteeth.com newsroom. Mainly sunny and 79 today. If you're heading out for 4th of July, expect crowded roads, rails, and airports. AAA says they're expecting an all-time record of 72.2 million people traveling. That's almost 2 million more than last year. Your best bet, get on the road early. President Trump set to visit what's becoming known as Alligator Alcatraz, a detention center in Florida's Everglades today. The center expected to eventually be able to hold around 5,000 people. At least 30 drivers having a rough time Monday on the roads in the tri-state. An 8-foot pothole finally patched up, but it left about 24 cars with flat tires. Those motorists now facing insurance and repairs. IDOT says it may cover some of those, but a claim needs to be made. And a vigil last night for the victims of a Thursday apartment fire on the city's west side, claiming 4 lives. A 5-year-old boy still in critical condition. Investigators are looking for an arsonist, and a reward is now being offered. News is a service of almostfreeteeth.com. Have you been getting high quotes on dental implants? With medical PPO insurance, it's possible to save 90% off on average. See if you qualify today at almostfreeteeth.com. Making smiles great again. A check of your roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Mike Gallagher explains what drives his show.
Now, am I oversimplifying this? Let's figure it out together. This is a caller-driven show. If you're new to what we do, I like you as our talking heads. I don't really like authors and guests, and I like Americans. That's what this show is about. Americans talking with Americans and trying to figure it all out together. I want to help.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Charlie Kirk at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
The national debt is soaring and the dollar is weakening. Rising deficits, inflation, and market instability are creating a perfect storm of economic uncertainty. Public figures that were once allies are clashing in the headlines, leaving Americans everywhere asking what's next. In unpredictable times, more people are turning to physical gold and silver as a way to safeguard their savings in retirement. At Advantage Gold, we help you move your IRA or eligible 401k into physical precious metals, tax-free and penalty-free. It's a simple, secure, and proven method to preserving your capital. When you call 800-900-8000, you'll receive a free gold guide packed with real-world strategies to help protect your investment. Plus, for a limited time, you could receive up to $10,000 in precious metals when you open up your qualified gold IRA with Advantage Gold. So don't wait for the next crash or crisis. Take control of your financial future today with Advantage Gold. Call 800-900-8000 or visit AdvantageGold.com. That's 800-900-8000. Performance may vary. Consult with your financial and tax professionals before making investment decisions. Call 800-900-8000.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or Avastin Captid Pagel, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Health Quest Radio with Dr. David Kolbaba. Saturday mornings at 11. Visit healthquestradio.com.
Taking a look at your drive in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center with Traffic, a service of Mattress Firm. 16 minutes, Edens inbound, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound, Montrose to Lake Cook, 17 minutes. On the Kennedy inbound, O'Hare to Burn Interchange, 45 minutes. On the outbound Kennedy Burn Interchange to O'Hare, 57 minutes. Outbound Burn Interchange to Montrose, 38 minutes. Eisenhower inbound, Jane Addams to Old Post Office, a 67-minute ride on the Eisenhower inbound at Ridgeland. There is a broken down vehicle. It's taking away your right lane. On the outbound Eisenhower between Old Post Office and Jane Addams, you have a 46-minute ride. On the Stevenson inbound, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, 54 minutes. Add this to the slow morning. A crash on the Stevenson inbound has the exit to California Avenue closed. On the Stevenson outbound, Lakeshore Drive to the Tri-State, 48 minutes. And on the Dan Ryan, crash-free 95th to the Burn Interchange, 24 minutes. Outbound Burn Interchange to 95th on the Dan Ryan, 11 minutes. I'm KT. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Now here's the latest from QC Kinetics.
Today will be mostly sunny with lower humidity. Expect a high of 86. Tonight will be clear with a low of 69. Tomorrow, anticipate warm weather with more sun than clouds and a high of 89. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Good Tuesday morning. Is it Tuesday? Yeah. Amy Jacobson here. Chris Crock.
I'm in the same boat. What day is it?
What day is it? Where am I? Well, you fill in for a number of different stations, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, last night I was on in Philadelphia, and then in the afternoon I was on in Charlotte. But this is my favorite. This is my home right here.
Charlotte, really? Charlotte, North Carolina?
Oh, dude, yeah. There's a flamethrower there. WBT. Oh, it's massive.
Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
I interviewed there. They have a radio station and a TV station.
Yeah, it's a flamethrower. And then same thing with WSB Atlanta. I worked there, which is also a massive flamethrower.
What does one mean when one says massive flamethrower?
Well, two things. First of all, but a Pollock from Chicago with his his Chicago accent. Chicago. They made fun of me in Atlanta for saying rough instead of roof. All sorts of stuff. They're like, it's roof. But a flamethrower means it's a 50,000 watt clear channel, not the company it used to be. Meaning that at night in WSB at 7:50 a.m. in Charlotte, it's I can't remember too many stations. But basically, when the sun starts going down, they stay powered up at 50,000. The other similar ones is other 750s, or for example, here in Dallas, I was on 820. The 820 750s cross country, they have to power down to a lower amount, maybe 1,000 watts, 5,000. We stay at 50,000, so we boom in like 38 states. I got calls from California, Florida, from Texas. Oh yeah, Mexico. We people from freaking the Northeast too. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. California got regular callers from California.
How did you get started in radio? Were you always radio, or did you ever do TV?
Here's the coolest thing. Okay, I have done TV here. I did 6 years of editorials for the big TV station here, and I'm filling in on Salem News Channel, actually. I am a fill-in for them. So I'll be on for a Wilcow, which is, of course, a Salem product, which is awesome. But I was born with this passion to do this. When I was 14, I was sitting in my room there in Buffalo Grove, and I called Eddie Schwartz. Remember Eddie? Oh yeah, I called Eddie. I went to town. I was like, oh, this guy. Oh, so I was like 13, 14. But I didn't know, but I went to Harper College, William Rainey Harper College. We called it, it's in the Poison Ivy League. It's high school with ashtrays, we called it. USP, University of Southern Palatine.
Oh, yeah. But I went to USB for some summer school classes.
You did too?
Well, yeah. Well, I went to University of Iowa, but in the summer I would take, get 3 credits here, 4 credits there. And I loved Harper. We had small classroom size. It was Western Civilization class I took, and I loved it.
I had the best criminal justice professor ever, who I love dearly, who got me out of tickets because he practiced law. Eddie Downs. He was involved in some way with the Gacy case back in the day. Yeah, and he told me about when people get high on cocaine, they can pick up a Coke machine. I'm not kidding you. That's what he said. I mean, oh yeah. Okay. And my father taught at the College of Lake County in between being a police officer in Chicago and the federal level, which I'm very proud of. He taught at the CLC, College of Lake County, criminal justice. He taught cops to be cops. I think he headed that department. And when we get pulled over, when my brother and I used to get pulled over in Buffalo Grove, some of these guys are awesome, and they remembered my dad. Are you so and so's son? Yes. Okay. Take care. Have a nice day. Be careful.
Oh my
gosh. Yes.
Must be nice to be you.
No. Well, I never pulled that freaking card. And I can't remember who or what it was, but then I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. So I got pulled over once in coming home from my now wife's home in Cary, Crystal Lake area, right, Cary? Mm-hmm. And it was on 14, right? And which you and I are very familiar with. You're in Arlington Heights. I was in Buffalo Grove. So
I'm from Mount Prospect, please.
You're all the same to me. I'm just kidding. Oh, I know. My friends, like you said, that went to Hersey, were in Mount Prospect, I think is what it's called, right? Not Prospect Heights, but Mount Prospect. I always got those two confused. But I got pulled over once, and I mentioned a little bit. You mentioned it in a way where you're not a jerk, you're not trying to get off on anything, And then I got off on a bad one on 14. I was like speeding, in the middle of the day or something like that. But he's like, "Oh, okay, take care." So, the law enforcement angle can work, but it's how you say it and how you do it. And also, you got to be prepared for them saying, I don't care. Give me your thing. I'm giving you a ticket. I mean, there's cops who get ticket. get ticketed. But
by other police officers. Yep.
Oh yeah, which is wrong, but there it is.
All right. Yes,
Go ahead. I forgot.
No.
Go. Okay. Quick story or no? Real quick.
Yeah, quick. Yeah.
Okay.
Take your time.
I was on. I can't remember. It wasn't the Kennedy. I'm maybe 18, 17. I'm on the southern side coming in towards downtown, and there's a state trooper, and the state trooper is flying. And so I get up the state trooper because I'm an idiot and a punk. I was probably 20, 19, 21. I get behind a state trooper. I'm staying a moderately safe distance, but I'm cooking because I'm a punk. Just as fast. Just as fast as she was for a little bit. As she slowed down, she went behind me and flipped her cherries on. She said, "Don't follow me, you bleepity bleep."
Wow. When did that happen?
Story. Oh, I was somewhere between, I didn't leave the Chicagoland area until 22 or something like that. I grew up there, but radio and TV took me all over the country. Like we all know, we take that tour. So, but I was 18, 20, 21, 22. I don't know. I was young, a punk, etc., and did lots of things.
All right. Well, with 4th of July coming up, and you're going to be filling in for a few days, that'll be great. A lot of people are going to be spending time outside, and I, Chris, have been spending a lot of time in my garage. Now ask me why I've been spending a lot of time in my garage.
Oh, I think I have a little idea because it looks like, if I'm understanding this, your garage is some kind of a paradise now, that I want this to happen in my garage.
My garage was cracked. The floor was uneven. I hated going in there. I had junk in there. So Level 10 Coatings, concrete coating solutions, came to my house. They gave me an estimate. They performed all the work in 1 day. 1 day. They were in and out in one day.
Gosh.
And you know what, though? It was good to clean out the garage. And sometimes they can clean it out for you, but I cleaned it out myself. My garage right now is where I go. It's like, and now it's an extra room in the house.
Nice. That's
got a
amazing.
TV set up there, and I got all that junk out. I even got rid of my snowblower, gave it to Goodwill because I haven't used it in a few years now. We're probably going to get a big snowstorm.
Yes.
But just it's so cathartic to clean out all that junk that you just shove in your garage and think, oh, I'll get to it later, but they make you get to it now. But the floor, it's so easy to clean, and I am in there all the time. If there's and stains come up right away too. We had neighbors over, and somebody spilled red wine, and
how dare they
wiped it right back
on your
up.
garage, in your new garage floor. Hey, do you have the flake? Do you have the flake colors?
Yes.
You have no freaking idea. My buddy I told you about, who does these massive fireworks things, he got this done, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's insane. It's so awesome.
Well, with more on that, let's welcome to the program for the first time, I believe, the president, Kraton Codil of Level 10 Coatings. Good morning, Kraton. How are you?
Good morning, Amy. I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. So tell us about your business and how you got started and how you named it Level 10 Coatings.
Yeah, great question. My older brother, who's my business partner, his birthday's on 4/10, and we both believe in a good customer experience. And when we were going through the branding part of starting the company, they just proposed it as a name, and it just kind of stuck. So Level 10, focused on being a 10 out of 10.
Were you, and that's how, did you do any concrete coating solutions before that? Or did you guys start your business from scratch?
We started from scratch. I previously did have home improvement experience. I was in the landscape outdoor living industry for about 6 years prior to coming over to this. We saw a gap in our market. To be honest with you, both my family's in real estate, and my father and brother both built a new home within a few years of each other, and had a hard time finding someone to, actually install a coating, let alone deliver a good customer experience. And my previous industry was just saturated. And so we did some research and saw it was a hot home improvement trend in January 2022, and then we were off to the races since March of 2022.
Wow, and you provide customized flooring solutions for homes and businesses across how many states?
We service the Chicagoland, Northwest and Northern Indiana, as well as part of Southwest Michigan. So pretty much anywhere in the suburbs of Chicago, Northern Indiana, and just into Michigan up to about Benton Harbor.
Wow. Chris,
I see the sidewalk. You can do your sidewalk like flex and stuff like that.
We do, yeah. So, traditionally people think of these floors as like epoxy, just as the name of it. You mentioned the flake. Epoxy is really a product. It's not a service. There's some newer, improved products that have come to market that don't yellow like your standard epoxy. So we use a product that's called polyurea polyaspartic, and so that allows us to install these outside. So pool decks, front entryways, back patios, basements, garages. So it's very versatile.
Wow, and you do commercial properties as well.
We do, yep. Not just a garage floor company. We can install a coating in a warehouse, retail, schools, churches, and we've got a lot of options to customize for those type of properties too.
Yeah, because I saw with the guys that came to my house, and I'm so sorry I can't remember their names, but they were lovely, and they were so efficient and just friendly, but got the job done. But they were showing me pictures of a banquet hall in Michigan that they just redid the banquet floor.
Wow.
And it looked beautiful.
Yep, that was a wedding venue. Yeah, it turned out really nice.
Wow. And okay, so how when they come to a house, like say my garage, and it was cracked and just an eyesore, what is the first, just walk us through the process of how they get it done?
Yeah, process is pretty simple. Most residential spaces we can do in one day. The process starts with the prep by grinding the floor. So whether you have a coating or not, we have to profile the concrete so that way our base coat can get adhesion. And then if you have, like your garage obviously was older, had cracks and salt pitting and just everything from over the years, we'll fill those voids, fill the cracks, let that dry, and then we grind that smooth. So the prep and the repair are the most essential parts of the process. And then the base coat, we'll roll out the base coat. We throw the flake. You choose whatever color you'd like, and then we let that sit for like an hour, hour and a half. Guys take lunch, come back. We'll scrape it and vacuum it, and then we apply your polyaspartic top coat. And that top coat's what seals the flake in, and gives you a little bit of texture, so it's slip resistant and all that good stuff.
But it's amazing how you're in and out in one day.
It is, yeah. The products really have come a long way over the last 10 years to allow us to do that. So minimizing downtime is important. Nobody wants to be out of the garage over a week. So one day install, and then 24 hours later you're on it.
How do you, if somebody's garage is cracked enough where it's uneven and stuff, how do you do that? Do you put concrete down in there, or do you? How do you level that off?
Good question. There's an extent we can do things too. Our repairs wise, we feel like cracks and pits and all that. We're not really re-leveling or grading or pitching anything. So there is a time and a place where we do need to work with a company like Permasteel or somebody of that nature to actually raise the concrete. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the garages that are 30, 40, 50 plus years old, they don't have any joints or anything like that. Yeah. So they've got cracks that run from one end to the other, north, south, right. East, west. A lot of times we can just, fill those and grind them out. So that way it kind of levels it out to a degree. But when you're talking like an inch plus in difference in height, that's where we got to work with another trade partner. But ripping it out and repouring it's not always the answer. Amy, that would have been a huge headache for you, wouldn't it have?
Oh yeah, that would have been a nightmare.
We had an addition, and we literally we added on where the garage is. And we had a major contractor. They tied in the foundation and everything. But they literally poured concrete, filling up. You know how your garage goes down, but it's attached to the house, like 3 inches or 4 inches? They filled that whole freaking thing up, and it was unbelievable to watch the concrete fill and just flatten it out and such. It's remarkable.
Yeah. Yeah, it is remarkable.
And so where can people go to learn more about your company and have you come over? You come over for free estimates, correct?
We do, yeah. Everything starts with a free in-home consultation. We don't believe in, high sales pressure or anything like that. Just whether you decide to go with us or someone else, we just want to give you the information you need to be able to make an educated decision. You can find us on our websites, level10coatings.com, or we're on every social media platform you can find too.
Yep. Level10coatings.com, and I'm going to tweet out the before and after of my garage. I don't think I've done that yet. Oh, it's a big difference. And how does it help with resale, too? Whether it's your basement or your patio or your garage?
Whether it's a home imagine selling a home that's, 50, 60 years old and the garage is cracked, stained, pitted, chances are likely that home inspector is going to find that as something they can ding you for. So from a resale standpoint, to that next buyer, it's going to be attractive because they're going to be coming into a clean slate. They're not going to have that worry of ripping out the concrete and repouring it, and who knows what that'll cost. So from that standpoint, it's great there. Or even if it's a new home, you built a brand new construction home that's 2 years, 5 years old, and you want to protect your concrete. This is a great way to do that. So that way the salt's not, when we all love the Midwest, right? And the freaking long winters we have. So we track the salt in, the road salt, and over time it just eats away at the cap of your concrete and causes it to pit, and then you just can't. There's no going back.
And I had some engine oil stains, and they wiped right off. I took a paper towel, and it just came completely off. Where before, if I had my concrete there, would just soak into that and be a nasty stain.
Yep, exactly, because you're going from a porous surface with concrete to a non-porous surface now. It's sealed in, so that coating is going to protect it. And oil, gas, whatever you spill, it's easy to clean off now.
Red wine.
Okay, and right now, if you mention Amy Jacobson, who's she? You'll receive $500 off your next project. Again, it's level, 10coatings.com, or you can call 855-510-2628. That's 855-510-2628. And trust me, if you're going to get your basement, patio, garage resurfaced, you want to go with these guys, because I was very impressed by the work. I was very impressed by the crew, and I can't thank you enough. So thank you so much for spending time with us today.
No problem. On top of that, if they do the research, they'll find we're the highest rated in the Chicagoland.
Great to know. Okay, thank you, Kraton Codil.
All right, thank you, Amy.
Yep, president of Level 10 Coatings. That's level, 10coatings.com. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you turning 65 and thinking about Medicare? Or are you over 65 and haven't enrolled yet because you still have coverage at work? Either way, Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Imagine having an annual deductible of only $257. There are only two good things about aging: wisdom and Medicare. But to navigate the Medicare maze properly, you need a mentor. Best part? My guidance costs you nothing. Call me. I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Medicare, then you need a local expert on your side. Your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 30-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for more than a decade. Steve, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
Wow. At the time of this being written, both gold and silver are up some 40%. That's 40% in just 1 year. In fact, this past year, gold has broken all-time historic records by hundreds of dollars an ounce. And unlike all other financial instruments used today, that historic record goes back thousands of years. In times like these, prices have never been better on most collector and gold coins. Fox Valley Coins in Naperville is trying to keep up with demand. So they're paying the most ever on not only most gold coins and bars, but also those old coin and paper money collections. They're especially looking for the scarcer dates and higher grade coins. Take advantage of the record high market price and our huge demand now, whether you're buying or selling, or just want to find out their worth. Fox Valley Coins is the place to go. Fox Valley Coins is on Route 59, just one light north of I-88 at the Naperville-Warrenville border. Family-owned, integrity since 1981.
What we love about our ability to help patients at QC Kinetics is seeing their pure delight at finally being able to do the things they enjoy without pain.
I had a patient start treatment with me. He wanted to be able to be active again and do some of his sports that he really enjoyed.
Dr. Ashley Caravelli, Chicago's medical director for QC Kinetics, treats patients with chronic joint pain using their body's own biologics. The goal? Get them back to living their best lives without surgery or harmful drugs.
He came back and he goes, what I wasn't expecting was the ability to play on the floor with my grandchildren. Even just saying it now, I have goosebumps because it's changing those small moments that you take for granted.
Don't let joint pain rob you of those moments. See if you're a candidate for QC Kinetics regenerative treatments.
It just warms my heart to be able to help people live the life they want to live and get those small moments back.
Weekend appointments available. Call now. 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955. 809-5955.
If you're living with pain, see how Relief Factor can help.
My back got injured very bad. I was off work for about a year. I heard about Relief Factor from my wife. I took it every day, 3 times a day for 3 weeks. Look at her and I said, the pain is gone. And she said, I'm glad it helped. I said, no, you don't understand. It's gone.
Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor. Go to relieffactor.com and get your 3-week quick start today. Only $19.95.
Dr. Howard D.C., founder of Balance of Nature and formulator of the fruits and veggies and fiber and spice supplements, has teamed up with veterinarian Dr. Jake to create Dr. Fido's Dog Food Topper, a tasty, nutritious way to enrich your dog's meals. Just scoop, sprinkle, and stir. Call 888-388-7297 or go to drfidos.com, drphytos.com. And for a limited time, order now and receive a 10% discount with our money-back guarantee by using promo code BALANCE.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, listen up. We have breaking news. Governor Pritzker just announced his new running mate, and his name is Christian Mitchell, third-term state rep, and he is introducing himself.
I'm Christian Mitchell, and I am so excited to be your next lieutenant governor. I was really lucky growing up. I was raised by a wonderful mother who was a nurse for 38 years in the NICU at Rush University Hospital. I had a grandfather who stepped in and filled the void for me and was a sergeant in the U.S. Army and a union steelworker. They both taught me what it was like to care about your family and work really hard, how you continue to move forward in difficult times. That's why I wanted to go into public service, because as difficult as life can be, I believe it can be a little bit easier if you've got leaders in government who care about working families, making life more affordable, making healthcare more accessible.
As a state representative, as the deputy governor of this state, Christian Mitchell has gotten so much done for people. And I know when we've got to take on Donald Trump and overcome the challenges he's bringing to our state, that Christian Mitchell is up for that fight.
When JB was first running for office, he promised that he was going to think big. And that is exactly what he has done as our governor. I am so excited to be joining JB in this moment because it's more critical than ever. We've made a lot of progress in the last 8 years, but we have to protect that progress. And together, we will always stand up for Illinois.
As the people of Illinois get to know Christian better, they're going to see somebody who cares deeply about the working families of Illinois, about the middle class, and fighting for our most vulnerable. He's done it for his whole career, and now he'll do it as our lieutenant governor.
All right, getting text messages. I served with him. Pritzker just got stronger. He's a policy wonk, and he's a guy who reached across the aisle. That coming from John Anthony. So have you heard of Christian Mitchell before?
He has got real world experience. He's perfect. He's the vice president for civic engagement at the University of Chicago. Real world experience. Academia. Wow.
That's how that worked. Well,
that's why I want my government run out of academia like Barack Hussein Obama.
Well, he did begin his career as a community organizer on Chicago's South Side. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah. Oh, are you serious? Same thing?
Yeah, I'm not kidding you.
Oh,
and the first African-American executive director of the Democratic Party of Illinois.
Wow.
But he is a current first lieutenant in the Illinois Air National Guard, so I appreciate his service there.
He's going to protect us against Trump. Protect us.
And Juliana Stratton could not run on the ticket because she's running for the U.S. Senate seat. All right, today it's going to be mostly cloudy, a high of 86 degrees. Tomorrow, cloudy, less humid, a high near 90. Our thanks to Chris Kroc and to Justin Kosick and Quinn McCarthy back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. It's now 9 a.m. WIND Chicago.
They need to get to 50. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News.
I think we're going to get there.
President Trump says he thinks the so-called One Big Beautiful Tax and Spending Bill will pass in the end. The Senate's been holding votes on amendments for more than 26 hours now. Majority Whip John Barrasso says he expects a vote on final passage this morning. No more than 3 Republicans can vote no.
Leadership continues trying to cobble together at least 50 votes for the One Big Beautiful Bill.
Trying to get a lot for everybody, and it's a big bill. And smaller bills would have been easy, but they wouldn't have been as good. I think it's going to do okay.
President Trump speaking with reporters ahead of a flight to Florida. The legislation would extend tax cuts passed during the president's first term, boost spending for border enforcement, and cut spending on Medicaid and federal nutrition programs.
As Fox's Jared Halpern, President Trump says Elon Musk might lose a lot over his opposition to this bill.
Musk posting on X that Congress members who, quote, campaigned on reducing government spending and then immediately voted for the biggest debt increase in history should hang their head in shame, adding, and they will lose their primary next year if it is the last thing I do on this earth. In response, President Trump suggested that the Government Efficiency Department should review the subsidies that Tesla, owned by Musk, receives. Musk helped lead that department during his tenure as an advisor to Trump. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
Police say 2 firefighters shot and killed Sunday in an ambush attack near Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, had asked the gunman to move his vehicle.
The local sheriff in Idaho identifying the shooter as 20-year-old Wes Rowley. Investigators say he appeared to be living out of his vehicle. Authorities say he intentionally set a fire using a flint, then lured firefighters to the scene. Once they arrived, firefighters were ambushed and shot at. While they did try to take cover behind fire trucks,